Yeah, I'm sorry. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How have you been, Doctor K?
It's
It's
been a
been a
couple
while.
years.
Yes, it's been a while. It's been a while. I've always talked good about you, man. I missed you. Honest to God, like seeing you in person, one of the nicest people I've ever met. One of the genuine nicest people I've. I was shocked because like, if you don't mind me saying this, because like I don't know who it is. Was it was it you or someone else? Because I got a DM and they on the when it all happened and checking up on me and stuff. There was I'm sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous. But yeah, you
Oh,
checked up on me and I appreciate that a lot, at that time. And yeah, man. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
it's all good, man. I have no idea what we're talking about today, and
Um
it's kind of like open in that way. So anything in particular that you want to talk about, or anything on your mind? Um,
yeah, just basically a lot of things really. Like just mainly basically about the past and what happened to me and you know, what's the best way on moving on in my way of what I'm doing is it correct or is it wrong or something like that, so I don't know, did you hear about what happened with me?
Sort of. So I know this is kind of gonna sound kind of weird, but I try my level best to not be aware of like what is going on with people.
Right.
Because in my experience, we've worked with over 500 streamers at HG, and like one of the key things that we've learned is what you see on the internet does not equal what is actually happening. I mean, it can at times, and the internet can be a useful way for people to share stories and share information, but we try our level best to like not judge based on what we read on the internet.
Right.
So I actually don't know the details of what you went through. I just know that you went through something and it seemed bad, bro. That's all I know.
Scummy bad, but do you want me to long story or short story?
Whichever you prefer. I generally like long stories, but
Damn. All right.
only whatever you feel comfortable
No, no. I
talking
mean,
about.
I don't mind. I'd like to say it because it would be nice. Because I've said it so many times, and especially to the
Yeah.
people that still watch me, I say it, and I'll say it again. I don't mind. Basically, around. Do you know what Counter Strike is? I'm not saying it.
What?
Counter Strike. Counter Strike.
Yeah, yeah. Counter Strike.
Yeah. So when that got released, a year later, you could buy skins. Like in-game
Yeah.
the skins and stuff. So I bought the. I used to buy skins just to play the game because it was nice and it was sexy. And then they released a site called CS:GO Lounge, and it was like a betting site, esports betting. So like pro teams, you just put your skin on it. So my skin could be like 100 to 200. I place it on the game, and I could win or lose. So basically, it was betting, and I got addicted to it. I'd continuously buy and buy and buy. Then they shut down the site. They shut down betting for Counter Strike, and I didn't realize you could do this with real money until I watched like a game of football and you see it on the banner, and I tried it with real money. I won. I won like £6,000. I was buzzing. I gave it to my dad, and then I had spare change, gamble my own money, would lose it all, and then I'd like get into a fake argument with my parents and be like, "Dad, just give me my money back." He'd give it me, gamble it, lose all the 6K. Then what would I want to do? Chase the winnings. Is that correct? So chase the winning. No, try and
Yeah.
chase back what I lost, basically.
Win it back.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. And
Yeah.
then I would do that, and I'd fail, obviously, get worse and worse, and then my goal was to get the 6K back because my dad would be like, "Where's that 6,000?" I was only like 18 or 19, so this is a long time ago. Oh no, sorry,
And
no,
how
this
old are
was
you now?
21. How old do I look?
I don't know.
29 years old.
29? Okay.
Yeah. Um, and so this was like I started all like 10 years ago, 18, 19. I started gambling, and then I'd continuously gamble, lose, and it never stopped. I couldn't stop. But I wasn't that bad. I wasn't that bad. It was because I would only use my money, right? And probably I would like reach out to like when I used to work at my store or I used to do sale. I was a sales advisor. I'd go up to my managers, be like, "Hey, could you spare like a few 20, 30 quid?" And then take their money, gamble it. But because they were in real life, they expect their money back in person. Then after that I became a streamer, started streaming, started making a lot of money, and yeah, I kind of really
Well,
got crazy with that.
when did you when did you start streaming?
Late 2018.
Okay. So
Yeah,
about 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Yeah.
And what kind of
But
streaming did you do?
oh, sorry. I don't know. It was uh, you know Raj Patel?
Yeah.
I used to go on his shows a lot, and I used to. This is when he
Wait,
started.
Raj Patel is in Austin?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry. Yeah, Austin. I used to go on his streams a lot, and he's the one that really made me. And I used to play Counter Strike and just do like some interviews or something. Not interviews, like streams with like other Austin shows, guys in the show from the show. And then,
Mhm.
sorry, I can't speak. I don't know. It's been a while since I've spoken to someone from like the Twitch community, so I don't know. I don't know. Anyway,
You sound really clear to me.
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, I didn't really gamble then because I was making good amount of money. I thought, what's the point in gambling? You know, I'm making good money. I really did stop for like late 2018 and then until August 2019, where I said, you know what, I got this much in my bank account. Let me just throw in a little joke. Lost it, went crazy, lost over 10,000 in probably like 2 days. And then I was like, I had a plan. So I would be like, let me just wait for my payment. But I was kind of not patient at that point, so I had a few friends I knew. So that was like MoTV, Miskiv, Trainwrecks, and John Zerka. Reached out to them and said, "Is it fine?" You know, I was coming up with lies, just pretending like, "Oh, because my bank account got locked or something like that." You know, I'd come up with lies just to feed my addiction. Um, and then, yeah, that's where it really started going crazy. I'd go,
And when was this?
2019,
Okay.
August 2019. And then I would start going crazy. I promised myself not to ask viewers and not to ask people I'm not really close with. After those guys, my friends, I started saying, you know what? Okay, it's fine. I should ask these other streamers. And then I asked those streamers, and then I started asking people that I was close to in my community. And then it went to everyone basically. I went to all my subs, went to viewers, I went to people that I didn't really speak to. Um, uh, yeah, and I went crazy with it, and I didn't really realize how much I was really down by because my brain ignored that, and also I used to think what I was doing wasn't a bad thing. I don't know because in my head, like, have you seen any of the videos where I would walk around and be like, "Yo, King, can you keep it personal?" and stuff like that. Like I was sending personal videos just to prove to
Mm.
them that I wasn't hacked, and then
Okay.
yeah, I would just send it to them just so it would be proof, and yeah, I don't.
What did you think? You said you didn't think it was bad. Do you remember like what was going on in your head?
That I would win. That was I don't know. It's just in my head. It was just like ignore that. You're gonna win some money. Main thing is like, oh, I'm taking this money and I'm gonna win. Positive, 100% positive. I'm gonna
Mm.
win. And when I place it, I used to do sports betting. I didn't do slots. I wasn't addicted to slots. I would just do like sports bet and sit down and do tennis. And I'll just sit down. It was my entertainment. Like Dr. K, I'm telling you, it was
Mm.
wild. Like I don't know. Is this number? Wait, before we do anything, like, am I allowed to swear? Is this like a PG?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just nothing that's a TOS violation,
Oh
but
no
I
no
mean
no
you
no
can.
no.
Yeah.
So it was wild. Like I'd even put up like bets, and then I would like go on porn and like watch both. Right. So it was wild. Like I'd be watching it, be like, damn, she lost, and then I'd stop, get angry, and then move on to find someone else and ask a message, and yeah. They went to legit anyone that was close by, like my family, my mom, my dad. I would even lie to them and do the same story with them. Um, and my
It,
close friends. It got to the point even people come to my house and stuff. And yeah,
is it okay if I ask you a couple questions about this liquor?
yeah, sure.
So, and when you did lose, do you remember what would happen in your mind?
That I would. I can't say because I feel like it started. I started moving on. I don't know. I don't know. If I'd lost, it would be like I don't know. I think it would be just like move on or something. Like find like you continue. Don't stop. You know. Try and you're gonna win no matter what. One day you're just gonna win. But like realistically, listening to it now, I didn't really do big bets. It would be like the max I won from betting was like 14,000, and I was
That
like, and I was in debt of, so I eventually it one of my viewers, I asked one guy, and then he found out that I asked other people, and he found it dodgy, and he recorded it, and I was like, it came out, it went out on live stream fails, and everyone found out what I did, and I didn't know that I was in minus. I knew it was in the 100,000 mark, but I didn't know it was that to that point of $300,000.
Oh my God, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
no, well, it would be way more than that but that's because some people probably didn't want their money back or something. But yeah,
So 300,000 is what you owed other people, what you had
I
borrowed from them?
I yeah.
Yeah. And
Plus,
over what period of time? Like,
um,
how long did it take to get to that number?
from August 2019. No, no, 2020, early January 20, February 2020. I'd say it was like that, or late March. I was starting to
Okay.
do that, and I would like, yeah, because like even I went to um like Miami, and I stayed with my ex-girlfriend in her house, and I'd tell her to pay for the food for me, because on the side I was like gambling my own earnings, and I'd be like, don't worry about it, you just buy the food, I'll pay you it back. And that's when it started going crazy, and I'd just continuously ask other people like on the side, and if they could, but then eventually um, you know, XQC and Ludwig, they paid off the people that I will, no matter what, I'll call them my heroes, even if it's stingy or cringe. I don't care. But these guys are my heroes. These guys, which they didn't have, I know that they didn't have intentions of doing it for me, but they did it for the people that I owed. But they paid off the whole debt. So I
Wow.
was, yeah. But there were few people out there that didn't want their money from Ludwig, which I would understand from XQC and Ludwig. They wanted me to work to pay them off. So then, of course, when I got exposed, I thought like I still have a chance, because I didn't believe that what I was doing was wrong. I genuinely didn't believe it. I was confident. I was confident that these guys are gonna get their money back. Then, seeing it now, obviously not. But then I was like, oh, these guys are gonna get their money back. No problem. Let me
Yeah, of
just,
course.
let me continue sending videos, and oh, can I do this? Can you help me with this? But like, I would realize a lot of times that what I'm doing is wrong. I'd a lot of times I'd think of like, just sit down, gamble, you're gonna win this. When I lose, I'd go cry. Okay, I'm not gonna say mom. I said at my mom's life a lot of times, but I would cry a lot of times. Like I'd punch my pillow, punch the wall, punch my leg, and even I'd go live and come up with excuses like to ditch, not stream. I'd put no effort into the content I would create. I would like watch my like the tennis while I'm streaming and pretend I'm paying attention to stream, and then once they're losing or something, I'll start punching my leg, so no one could tell. Um, I was in like Team Liquid. Do you know Team Liquid?
Hmm.
I was in Team Liquid. I'd even ask them for money. Like I went to anyone. I legit went to anyone.
And
Parents and
when you said that you were like upset, you would punch the pillow or whatever, like what were you upset about?
like, okay, I was pissed because I lost.
What were you pissed at?
That I lost my bet, and then I'd have to go to another one, and I'd have to ask someone else. But then when I'd ask someone else, those emotions are gone, and then I'd start thinking of, at the same time, I'd want to say that weirdly, it pleased me. Like I know it's weird. It pleased me. I enjoyed it. Like
You enjoyed what?
gambling.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I think people do,
No,
man.
no, like I mean, like it. I would sit down and watch it and be like, I don't know, it wild me up. I'm like, damn, nice, okay, And then I'd go out of my mind when they would lose a game. I would go into the people's Instagram account, like the tennis player, go into the Instagram account and just scroll through the comments and read the nasty things at them. And I'm like, good. Like it was that bad. I would go to the comments and be like, that's good. She deserves that. She rigged the game, the bitch, or male or female. I'd be like, fuck you for throwing that game. Then obviously,
Mm.
eventually, I'd be like, damn, that's sad. And then at times, I would cry and realize that, I need to fix myself. I wish I could prevent this. I wish I could be debt free. I wish I could stop. I'd cry. About 30 minutes later, I'll go back and do it again.
So when you said you wish you could be debt free, you could fix this. What were you trying to? What did you wish you could fix?
Not be in debt anymore. Pay everyone off that I owed. That was
Okay.
it was my goal, but then again, I can say that betting was something that I enjoyed doing as well. So you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, so I think that makes a lot of sense. Um, and by the way, Slicker, thank you so much for sharing this. Are you okay talking about? I mean, I
no,
know you've
I'm
been talking about it, but I just want to check in with you again.
no, I mean, honest
Uh,
to God, doing it with you, I feel more comfortable doing it with.
yeah, I mean, I think can I just share like a couple of initial like thoughts?
Yeah, yeah,
So the first thing is just listening to you. Um, I've done a fair amount of addiction work, but usually like substances and technology. Like not, I haven't worked with a whole lot of people who have struggled with gambling, relatively speaking, of course. So not like hundreds of people, let's say. But I think the main thing that I'm kind of hearing from you is how not negative all of it is. So I know it sounds weird, like we're talking about that it's like a bad thing, but as I listen to your experience, I'm sort of hearing you say, okay, I wish I could take this away, and what I'm sort of hearing you kind of say is like you wish, not that it's not clear to me that you understood you had a gambling problem at that point, but that what you really wanted to take away was the debt.
right,
And when you ask people for money, like you didn't even view it as bad because like you were gonna win,
right. And I
right?
thought I was gonna give it to them back,
Absolutely, right? So like
which
that's
is
kind of the
bullshit.
yeah. I mean, but now, but that's what happens in our mind. Our mind gets away from us.
Right.
Anytime we're addicted, and maybe a little bit later we can talk a little bit more about that because I think there's a lot of things that you're describing which are really consistent with what I've heard other people say and what I've read about and stuff like that. And maybe towards the end we can kind of map some of that stuff out
Right.
for people who are watching and kind of like almost like warning signs where if your mind is doing this, then maybe you should be a little bit more careful or maybe think about getting some help. Um, but I'm still just struck by how not negative your experience of some of this stuff is. And by not negative, I mean like, okay, you're like, okay, what I want is to not be in debt. What I want to borrow this money, but like I'm gonna win and I'm gonna pay it back. I don't get the sense that you thought you were taking advantage of people or you were trying to steal or anything like that. It was just a sure thing that you were
No,
gonna
but
win,
it
right?
did. I was at the point where it was like it was bad though. Like at the point
Yeah,
where
of course.
no, like I'll be like, I'm gonna pay these people back. But it came to the point where I would even genuinely like my thought of scam wasn't then. I didn't think of it as a scam. I thought I'm
Yeah.
borrowing money. I'm not doing anything bad. But eventually it came to like even people like Lakari and a few other people. I found ways of pretending to send their money back. So
What does that mean?
so on PayPal you could do something called goods and services. I would pay someone with goods and
Hold on,
services.
Slicker. Before you keep going, I just want to make sure that you're not gonna. I don't want to. So we always want to. We don't want people to get hurt by coming on and talking to us.
No,
So there's nothing you're going to talk about here that would be confessing
no,
to
no,
a
no.
crime or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay.
This was 2000. This was last year,
Okay.
September 17th, 2022. It all came out. At the start, I was scared. I was really scared. I wanted to do like I wanted to disappear, but I couldn't. It was just suicidal thoughts. But then, of course, with Ludwig and XQC helping me out, paying off everyone, it helped me a lot. I said, you know what, it's time to be actually on mine because I'm 28 years old doing this sort of immature shit, and as a grown ass adult, you're not meant to do that. But I went out, found a job, worked as a security officer at the airport, and life was good because I actually started because the internet and reality is two different things.
Tell me about it, man.
Like when you talk to the internet people when you look at these people, you only see them as business associates. You would think they're your friends, but they're business associates, and then you get together, but then you start separating yourself when you see like the viewer or the audience not with you and or something like that. And then when you go outside and you work in a real job, it's a lot different. I told everyone what I did just so they don't trust me in case I do something stupid. I
Hmm.
told them all. I told my manager. I told the people I worked with. Well, the friends I had at work, and they were like, "We don't judge you. You're looking at you. You're coming here. You're doing work, and it looks like you want to improve yourself." And I was like, "Damn, that makes me feel good." And then
Hmm.
it improved my confidence working there, but it also made me. I don't know. This is also something I want to know from you. eventually, like, I could never watch any of the reactions. I couldn't watch any of the reactions. Like, Asmongold's reaction was like saying, I don't care if these guys kill themselves. And then you got other people like all of these guys that was doing the reviews and stuff like that. It was too hard. I'd scroll down, read the hate. It was too hard. And the
You're talking
beg
about reactions about you.
reactions, right? And seeing
Yeah.
seeing what I did as well is something I couldn't even do. I couldn't even watch it. It was too hard. And when I came out forward and cried and explained it to the internet, um, and then eventually, now my current stage is that I see my past self as a joke. I don't know from your side if that's a correct way of moving on, because I did go to therapy. I went to therapy at the start, but my job kind of like stopped me because like I was doing 12-hour shifts and I couldn't meet up with my therapist since she does only weekends and at certain times. And then I stopped, and then I couldn't come back into streaming. Some of the victims that I scammed, they were like, stop being a pussy. They would message me and stuff, and they were like, stop being a pussy, go live and stuff. I know it might not be not believable from them to say that to me, but it is true. I don't want to name them.
So,
Um,
so when they said stop being a pussy, go live, were they they were still supporting you as a
they were
streamer? They were thinking I'm
They were
confused by that.
they were my friends. They were there for me, but they were
I
also
see.
like scam. They hated me. They didn't want to talk to me. But eventually they started messaging me, and I was messaging them. I played games with them and stuff like that. And then they were like saying, "Should press the live button. Stop being a pussy. Go live and stuff like that." I genuinely didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do it at the start. And then eventually went live, and I started getting confident again, and started streaming during the times I was working. Then I got sacked from work. That's something I that's something I don't want to say why I got sacked for.
Sure.
And then it wasn't good. Um, and then well, okay, now I'm not making myself any better because I said it's not good. Let me
No,
give you
no,
a little insight. I
no,
can.
no. You don't have to share. We're totally fine not knowing. Like,
It wasn't
let's just keep
illegal what
going.
I did. It wasn't bad. It was not the same thing I was doing.
We
It
don't,
was just human faults. Human faults.
sure,
Yeah.
we all have them. So you were saying people were messaging you.
Yeah, and then sorry, yeah, and then I started streaming, and yeah, I just when the people would just use it against me, be like, "Look at this, look at it, lol, this is you begging," and this and that, and then I just got used to it to the point where I just laugh at my past, not to the point where I scam, but to the past of me as a gambler, I laugh at myself as. So when it comes to a
What do you mean by
victim,
laugh at?
so um, as a gambler, I would laugh and be like, this is someone different I'd look at. This is not the same me I see myself as. And in order for me to for me to move on, I'd see the parts where I'll be like, yo King, can you keep it personal? I'd laugh at myself and be like, this guy's a clown. But at particular points where I'd be like, if it's any victim, I would not laugh at that but like from my past of my addictions, I would laugh at that. I don't know if that's a positive way of moving on. Because for me, people would try and use that against me, and I'm like, okay, all right, if you want to use that, that's not gonna affect me. I know I can better myself, and I know I can be a better human.
Yeah. So can you tell me? You said like something about being an actual man. What do you mean by that?
Oh, okay, well, um, yeah, I don't know about being an actual man still, but I mean, being responsible.
What does that
Um,
mean?
so I was, like doing my own stuff, like laundry. I was basically, I live at my parents' house at 29. So, I mean, I
You
would,
and 50% of other people who are 29, by the way.
I don't care though. I don't care if I live with my parents, but, um, like she would make me the food. She would clean my clothes. She would do my bed and all that stuff, And then I started realizing, it's about time for me to start doing that myself and like, do my bed and uh, you know,
Good for
well,
you, man.
not the food, but just put the food in the plate for myself and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and something like that, and actually be responsible, do something and work, and you know, uh, what is a man? I don't know. Define me what a man is, Dr. K.
Uh,
Like um, being uh, mature. I can't. I can't. That's something I can't be. Can't be that. I can't.
why can't you be mature?
It's boring.
Okay.
I can't. I can't. I could not hang around with someone that's really mature. I mean, I'm not saying you. You are definitely mature, but I mean, I'm saying like someone that don't crack up with small jokes or something like that.
Sure.
But
So
I am.
what does mature mean to you?
Um, My father. Wait, no, that means actually I can't hang out with my father. No, no, I take that back. No,
What about your father makes him mature?
he's a man. He's a man. He he does things like the light bulb switches off. He's like, okay, he goes up, he does it himself, and I'm there watching him. He's running the bills. He, plans, uh, sorts everything out of the house. Which is something I have no clue of. And yeah, that's someone, a man, a man. I don't know.
Someone who's responsible, someone who takes
Someone's
care of shit,
responsible. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, someone who's
dependable,
right, right, right. Someone like that. I'm not at that current stage still. I would say that, I'm very immature and
someone who doesn't need to be bailed out.
correct, exactly. Someone who works to pay these people off. Which I
Okay.
did, I did. I know not to be. I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm taking all credit and stuff. I did work because there were a few people that wanted their money back. Someone took me to court, and I worked off, paid that person back. A few of my people from outside of my friendships, I owed. I worked, paid them back. There are a few people that still I still owe. And I will work to pay them back as well. And yeah, but yeah,
How
definitely.
does it feel to pay people back?
It feels good. I mean, I can't say the fi- the people that I owed right now. It does feel good, But I don't want to. I'm not gonna take. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I paid them back. I'm always gonna be like these guys,
Sure,
XQC and Ludwig, because are the reasons for me to afford to pay some of these people I owe back.
sure.
But it feels good. Like I can't lie, the life I had when I was streaming, it was beautiful. I could go on holidays, I got free stuff and stuff. But the life I have now is a lot better than I did it when I was streaming back in the days.
How so?
I It was depressing. Like I was faking my act. I was using people. I wasn't investing my money. I used to go live, didn't put effort into my streams, and yeah, I was just genuinely just a scumbag.
You used to go live and put effort or not
No,
put
no
effort?
effort. Like my viewers would love. They wanted me to collaborate with other streamers. They wanted me to do IRL streams and stuff, but I never did any of those. Just so I could
What?
just like sit down and watch like betting on my right screen or something.
Okay. So you feel in some ways that your life now is better. What's different now?
That I'm in a safer place. That everyone got their money back. Um, I'm not as depressed. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. That's a huge thing as well. Cause like I wasn't grateful when I was streaming. I'm definitely grateful to be in a position like this because you already know, like for what I did, I could have been in a lot worse place than if not for those for XQC and Ludwig. I could have been in jail. I could have been I don't know. Could have been 6 feet under the grave. I don't know. I couldn't tell. But yeah, definitely being
So
grateful as well.
what are you grateful for?
Um, I'm grateful for a lot of things. So like for being debt free, for having a few friends there for me still, family, um, given a chance. Um, Damn, I feel like I'm missing something and I can't think of it. When you
I, 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 I mean, I think that's not, but I think it's also, so everything you said makes a lot of sense to me. And I think sometimes it's interesting you say you're missing something. I think in a sense you probably are, but I think that sometimes we don't have the words to express what we're grateful for
right,
because you can feel gratitude without really even knowing exactly what you're grateful for. And one of the things that I'm kind of getting from you is sort of like there was this alternate path to your life. And some of the gratitude I'm feeling off of you is that you're not on that path anymore. And
right,
that path comes with all kinds of problems and honestly some nice things too because you're going on holiday and you're getting free stuff and
right,
you're
right,
streaming with big people and
right,
you're a big person and
right,
so there's a lot of stuff that's alluring about that life, but I think what a lot of people don't understand looking from the outside is that there's a lot of toxicity in that life too.
True,
There's a
true,
lot of
true.
fame and fun
And
and
ego is that's annoying. It's annoying because, like, I mean, to be honest, look, Dr. K, where I work, there were ego people over there as well. Like managers would like look down at you and be, it's the same. It's honest to God, it is the same though. But yeah, I mean, it was also like, when I went there, people would be like whispering to other people, that guy did this guy did this guy did this, and like even at a particular point where I was like on break, I come back and you'd always have to go to your manager because the manager would point you to go to like do your bags, do X-ray or do something like that. I went to my manager. These two managers sitting down watching a video of me getting exposed, laughing on my life. I was in shock. So the girl that told them about that, raged at her. I was like, I don't get it. How is this meant to be funny? But then the girl didn't really know what I did. They just opened the video. They didn't have a clue what happened, and she didn't know who I was because people were telling her, and it felt like it was a bit uncomfortable. I didn't like it. I didn't like working with the people around me because they don't say it to you. Because I would be okay if they came up to you and be like, okay, this guy did this. And I'll be like, okay, yes, and it is me. I'm not gonna say it's not. I'm not gonna be proud of what I did, but they wouldn't do that. They would just go behind, and I'll be like, "Who said that? Who said that? Who is saying that?" So I'd avoid
yeah.
speaking to them.
And so Slicker, you're saying you had some questions about moving on. So what can you tell me a little bit about that?
Um, I mean, today, I it's because right now I've had like after the whole thing, I had my family supporting me and my ex-girlfriend throughout the whole thing. They supported me through all of it. My sister prevented me from using my card. Like she would, take ownership. So whatever I'd pay, it would be through the card she's holding. So I was under um yeah, I don't know the word for it in English, but basically they would look at what I'm spending on stuff, and they would spend it for me. They'd sort all the bills, they sort the debts, and send it to the people I owe and stuff. And wait, what was the question?
Just what you said you're curious about, or you're trying to move on, and I
Oh
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
curious
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
meant and
Um,
what makes that hard.
so I feel like I don't know if I'm 100% positive, if I'm confident if I've moved on, because I did that the same way back in the days in 2017. I mean, the scam thing won't ever happen, but gambling, I don't know if that will ever happen. And to be honest, when I say that scam thing won't ever happen, who knows if I ever go back to gambling, I could be still that same degenerate. But for example, like in 2016, I stopped gambling and I froze it. I tried help, and then a month after, I was like, you know what, I'm okay. Took my card back, didn't gamble. Month later, I saw a little bet, said, let me do a little cheeky tenner, lost it, and then lost and lost and lost. And I went back into it, never stopped. Um, so, like, I'm wondering am I forever gonna stay as an addict? Because I'm not confident. Today, I had a dream, and this is not a lie, I swear to God, I had a dream that I had $1 in my account. Opened it, I said, you know what? I don't do slots. Let me put it in a slot machine. And this is a dream. I won 37K from a slot, just from one spin from $1. And I was happy. It felt so real. I swear to God, it felt so real because all the things I could just think of what I'm gonna do with it. And then I said, you know what? Since it was 37,867, I said, let me slot with the $7. I won 67,000, or up 100. Gave it to my dad. Woke up and I felt sad. So I don't know. Is it inside of me still? Do you think I can ever come to the point where I can actually like be confident with myself and not do it anymore? Like I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not. I don't trust myself either. I don't trust myself either.
Slicker, so here's the thing. This is such a beautiful question. It's a question that people have been asking for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And we're going to talk about answers to the question, but I don't know that there is one. I think it's we'll talk about it, it's a beautiful. I'm excited because I think when I was training to become a psychiatrist, these are the kinds of questions that we would talk about not only with our patients but with my teachers.
Hmm.
So what does it mean when someone is an addict? Does it mean that they're this way forever? And what I'd love to do is just share with you kind of my understanding. I don't know specifically about you, But just what I understand about that question and how I approach it, how I think about it, what we know about neuroscience, what we know about psychology. And I think the dream stuff in particular is fascinating. So I'm just going to make a note of that. But
I've never had
let me.
this before. Never had this. Is today it was so random. Today it was random. I
It's
don't know.
it's not random.
Huh?
It's not. Of course, it's not random. You said you've never had this
Yeah,
dream
but
before,
from
right?
over a year of being sober,
Yeah.
and it
Of course, it's not random.
right.
So what else is happening today?
Excuse me. What do you
What
mean?
else is happening today? You said this is the first time you've had this dream, right?
Okay.
You had it last night.
Right.
So what was on your mind when you went to bed last night? What was on your mind the yesterday? What was on your mind when you woke up this morning?
Stream. I owe someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? So we're having this conversation.
Right.
So
Right.
you're mentally preparing
Okay.
that we're going to
Okay.
talk about this, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So
Right.
I don't think it's a coincidence that, it sounded like you started betting at the age of 18 or 19, and for 10 years you've never had this dream.
No. 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 No.
And,
No. No.
and today's, and what, some magical coincidence? Wow, out of 3,650 days,
Yep.
this is the day you have the dream?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Peter Pan tip 1
So
GBP black hole was in your
there's good
mind.
news, Slicker, which is that your mind operates based on science, based on some logic. And it's my belief that the better you understand the way that your mind works and the rules of the mind, you will find an answer to this question of moving on and what you can do and what you cannot do.
Right.
Before we dive into that, can you just tell me a little bit about what growing up was like for you?
Um. I had strict parents, like, and it was in a good way. I personally, I believe it was not bad what they did, but like, they were strict. I couldn't use the internet at certain times. Um, I was heavily, well, so I would go to school. I have ADHD,
Okay.
and it was so hard to focus in school. I failed all subjects, well, except for maths. I got a C. That's the highest. When I first went to school, like in the end of primary school, I'd mess about and all that stuff, and they'd call in my dad many times. I'd get in trouble, get grounded, and then eventually I went to high school, and again, the same thing. I would just do stupid things. Um, and yeah, I was in, what's it called? The highest, learning support. I was in learning support, the highest one. Do you know what
Okay.
learning support is?
It sounds like you needed some kind of support to help you learn.
Right. So it basically does levels. So if you're in the highest level, you get the best, the hardest questions in maths and English. I was in
Oh,
the worst one.
I'm confused. Does that mean that you needed more help or you were getting super challenging questions?
No, I was needed more. I needed help.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And you said you did stupid stuff in high school? Like what?
so there was these guys that used to kind of bully me. Yeah, kind of, but I would try and be on their side. So there was this time that was under the stairs and there was a fire alarm. They were like, yo, go show us how sick you are. I was like, what? And it was like, yeah, punch that fire alarm. I was like, yeah, come then. I was smiling and all that. So I punched the fire alarm and it went off. And then the head teachers came. I ran upstairs and then I tried to do a reverse psychology and went to the head office and snitched on myself. And I cried, but it was a fake cry. No, I was actually crying, I think. Was I? I don't know. So no, I wasn't crying then. I wasn't, but later on I was crying. I went up to them. I said, some guys actually, forced me to do this, and I didn't want to do it. And they were like, are you sure? Then they showed me the camera, and they saw me smiling in it. And then, yeah. So my parents came, and I got suspended for like 2 weeks from school. And then I done weird stuff. I don't know. Even when I went to work experience, year 10, my uncle said you can work at hours, and I'd go up to the frying pan and I'd spit. Now hold on, don't worry. No one ate this, but I'd spit in the what's the thing that you put the burgers on?
The grill?
I was testing you. Congratulations, you passed. Yeah, the grill, and it would sizzle. The spit would sizzle. And I was like, yo, that's cool. So I brought him, so I brought him my uncle. I said, look at this spat, and he looked at me and smacked me. I didn't realize. I don't know why, but I didn't realize it. And then he sprayed it, cleaned it. I was like, do you not know? And I was like, oh, of course, you put the burgers there. So yeah, a lot of times I've done a lot of stupid things. I don't know. I don't know why. Weird. Questionable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very
But
helpful.
that's oh no, sorry, yeah. And then like internet was strict. Like I couldn't go on the internet when I'm home. My dad would be like, read a book for 1 hour, and then I'd
Did you like reading?
oh hell no, hell no. No offense, I'm kind of getting into reading right now because I'm inspired by Tupac. You know Tupac, Dr. K.
Hmm.
He actually made me feel like a man. I'm serious. He's the one that made me
How
feel
so?
like because you know, what he did was he was a true warrior. His background and what he did to his own kind of stuff, and his messages in his songs and stuff. So I felt like, it made me feel better. It made me feel like I wish I could be like him.
What
So
what what about his songs made you feel better?
it was like, you know how you read books and you
Hmm.
picture it? Me
Hmm.
listening to his lyrics was picturing it as well. It was like reading a book, but I could visualize it. And it was so good, and it was like I'm educating myself with what he's saying and what it was like in the back in the days, and who to trust, who not to trust. I mean, who can I say that to trust or not? But I mean, from his perspective and stuff, it was good. So then, it made me feel like, in some aspects, it made me feel like a man. And it also made me feel like, what your weaknesses only makes you stronger. you know and he was the same. He also wanted to kill himself after he got shot, which I'm not comparing myself to him, but he wanted to kill himself, but all he did was become stronger and stronger, and he started going all out.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, let's get back to the thing. But
No, that's great.
books are just they are kind of boring. I mean, like I said, I am kind of like reading some books inspired from what he would read, like The Prince, uh, and what was the other one? No, just The Prince. I'm starting to read The Prince. Um, but I didn't really like reading books because my ADHD was so hard. It's
Sure.
so hard. I'd read 1 hour of a book, and in my head, I'm thinking of Counter Strike. Like, it was creative. I have a creative brain. I could like control my brain as if I'm playing Counter Strike. So well, it wasn't Counter Strike. It was a game called AVA. But yeah, I was like,
Okay.
oh, sorry, I'm talking too much. I do
No, no,
apologize.
no, you're not talking to.
Uh,
You're doing great, dude. When
yeah,
and so let me ask you. Do you have? So I understand your main question is okay. Like, what does this mean for my future? How do I move on? Am I always going to be like this? You have these kinds of questions, right?
oh, and another one, like if I like, I'm not ready to get a woman, but like, I don't think a woman would be okay hearing about my past. Like,
What a great question.
yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
know.
Give me all Slicker. This is awesome, dude. Like
Oh, you being
I love this
serious?
question.
I thought you'd be sarcastic.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. But yeah, yeah, like um, stuff like that. Like, I'm not confident. I'm
Any
not confident speaking with a woman. It's like there was this woman I was actually interested in. She was like beautiful, and then she was like, "You do know I know you about your past." I was like, "Yep, I don't know. This is awkward. I can't just move on." You know.
Okay.
So I don't know. Sorry. Go ahead.
Other thoughts, concerns, questions?
Other thoughts, concern, questions.
Other thoughts or concerns or
Oh,
questions that you want to
other.
share?
Oh. Um. No. Sorry.
Okay.
No.
Can I think for a second, Slicker?
Absolutely. Take your time.
I'm gonna need like a minute or two.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Let me ask you one other question. Do you have a sense of, so you said there have been periods of your life where like this hasn't been a problem for you, right? Like the gambling, right?
Um, what do you mean by that? When?
Like there are times where you weren't gambling.
During the times when I started gambling.
Yeah, so like you've been gambling off and on for like 10 years
Yes.
or more than 10
Yes,
years,
yes, yes,
right?
yes, 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 yes.
But there are periods of time when you're not
Right,
gambling.
right, right.
What's your understanding of what's different about those times?
That English was so good. I'm so sorry. Could you elaborate a bit
So,
more? Like,
sorry.
what was that? Just that last sentence.
So what was going on when you weren't gambling? What was different about your life so that you
Okay.
weren't gambling?
I can't remember the time when I was working at 3. I can't remember that. But when I started streaming, I said there's no point for gambling. Like I'm making enough money. There's just no point. There's no need.
I'm making enough money. Do you remember how you felt about streaming? Was it mostly about the money or
Oh,
was it like, huh?
no, like as in I'm making more money that there's no need to gamble. Like compared to when I was working at 3, I'd still make good money, like 1,500 a month, but I'd want more. Like I'd want to hit 10K. But when I was streaming, I was making a lot of money.
But then I'm a bit confused, right? So once you start streaming and you start making money, why would you start again? Why would you start gambling at all?
Um, Cause no, it was just a little cheeky for fun. When people gamble for a little fun. So I just did it for a little fun. I just checked.
The cheeky tenor, as you said, right?
Yeah, I can't. To be honest, it was probably not even a cheeky 10. It was probably a cheeky £500 or something like that.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, just do it. Then I was like, yeah, just for fun, and that did not turn out to be fun because that was just when it all happened again.
Okay.
But it was good because like even when I was like, I was able to like afford to go, pay for my own flights and stuff. I'm sorry, actually, are you still collecting thoughts?
Nope. No, you're good.
Yeah, it felt good because like it was my own money. I could spend it on this, and I was smart for once. I was actually smart and saving my money, which I never did, never did. I saved up like 15K, 15 to 20K in my bank. That's the highest I've ever seen in my streaming career from my own money. And then
A-
yeah, sorry.
And when this stuff was going on, did your parents
Oh,
or family think? Yeah,
no, they had no idea I was doing
they
it.
had no idea.
Oh no, they did at one point when I won the 6,000, but that was when I was young. I said, Dad, I won this from it. Here you go. And he was angry. He was like, you don't ever do that again, because his morals is like hugely against gambling, anything that's haram, basically. Well, for me, you know,
What's your ethnicity, Slicker?
Iraqi.
Okay.
I don't know what that is in ethnicity though. White,
Yeah.
Arab.
No, it's fine. So okay, so it's haram, right?
Yeah,
Along with
yeah, yeah,
alcohol
yeah.
and pork.
Right. I
Um,
mean, I have a mixed family, so like my dad's not that religious though. So, but he is
are you
against.
religious?
I believe in it. I believe in the religion, but I'm not a practicing Muslim.
What do you mean by believe in the religion?
I believe there's Allah. I believe there's sins. I believe praying. I believe He's testing us. I believe, you know, that is the right and correct path, but I'm not doing it. If that makes any like
And what's your understanding of why you're not doing it?
laziness.
And if you were less lazy, what would doing it look like?
I would obviously be with God.
Okay.
It's,
So
you
how
feel what
does
I'm
one be with God?
by following what it says in the Quran.
Okay. Okay. So
By
observing what the Quran says.
right, right. Like praying, um, being a good person, not doing any sins, not drinking, not doing any of those
Do,
haram stuff, not masturbating, which is
do
hard
you,
for me as well, Dr. K. It is hard.
sure. It's hard for a lot of people.
No, I mean genuinely, it's hard for me. Like I think I don't know if it's an addiction, but I remember a lot of names. You know, I
What
go
does
into
that mean?
detail. Like I know a lot of porn star names,
I
and
see.
yeah, and I'd search them up by that, and I'd do. When I was young, I would do 5 times a day, and I'm 29. I'm doing twice. Well, not twice. I do it like actually, I'm dying out to be honest. I'm doing it like 3, 4 times a week.
You
Wait,
used to masturbate 5 times a day?
oh yes, hell yeah, and it was weird. Like I don't know if you want me to go into detail with that, Dr. K, but it was wild stuff. Like I would,
L-
yeah, I think it would be better if we
let's
don't.
yeah, let's table that for now. But I do think that's actually like a significant detail.
Oh, I thought you said significant improvement.
Well, I mean that maybe too, but um,
If you don't mind me asking,
it
Dr. K, how old are you?
41.
What? That's crazy. No, you do look like you're in your early 30s. That's crazy.
Good genetics. I'm
Yeah,
lucky.
that is crazy. I wish I looked like you when I'm 40 then, because that's only 10 years soon. That's crazy. And when did you get married, if you don't mind me asking?
I got married at I want to say 28, maybe.
I'm 29. Do you understand? Like, 29, and you was 28. You married. You definitely were mature then. And like, I'm 29. I'm still bitchless. No, I'm so sorry. Like, apologize for saying that word. Womanless. Wait, what?
And what's your understanding of why that is?
Um, not confident anymore. Really, I'm just not confident. You
Okay.
know. You know. Wait. What was the correct answer? There's a correct answer, and I missed out. You tell me. You tell me.
There's no. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. But I think when your default, when the words that naturally come out of your mouth is bitchless, right? So that means that there's a certain conditioning, which I think could be getting in
I
the way too.
I
But
trust. I was
I
really I was so respect. I had an ex. We were dating for 2 years, and we broke up because, like, she would tell me to stop gambling. She knew I was gambling, but she didn't know it was that crazy. And she'd be like,
I
"Stop," or we start. I was respectful. I'm a respectful man.
I, I believe you. So, but I
Thank you.
think confidence is a good place to start. But we can
Right.
talk a little bit about comparison and stuff like that too. But let me just. Are you cool if I use an iPad and draw on it?
Yeah. Do whatever you want. I
Okay,
don't. Yeah.
give me a second.
Why?
Well, we're gonna go to class. Sliker.
Okay. All right.
You want to talk about?
I'm gonna try my hardest to focus. I'm so sorry. Like.
I think it. I think it'll. My thought is that it'll make it easy for you to focus and not harder.
Okay.
But if that changes, you let me know. Okay?
Um. Sorry. Wait. I have another question as well for you.
Yes, please.
Now, with addiction, that was okay. Come to that later. With addiction, right? Sports betting and casino and slots, different addictions, correct or not?
Yes and no. So that's why we're gonna explain all this stuff. Okay? So let's understand. These are all honestly, Slicker. I don't think I've. If I tell you that I think something is a good question, I'm not. I'm not like trolling you.
Okay.
Like I
All right.
genuinely think it is a good question. Like
All right.
I'm not.
Okay. 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 I'm
I
sorry.
I think your questions are all awesome. I think there's. By the way, have you ever been taught how to pray?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
My mom taught me how to pray when I was young, and she would always tell me like, just come back, stop praying and believe and stuff. I know eventually I'll commit to praying and soon, but
Yeah,
yeah, I can't.
that's true.
I don't want to say
So
but.
I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this. Hopeful. Uh-oh. Um, give me a second, okay?
Yep.
My. Oh, hold on. Oh shit! I guess I can't do that here. Give me 1 second.
Take your time, sir.
Okay, let's move this over here.
I just want to say, thank you for doing this with me, Dr. K.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on, Sliker. All right. Can you all see this? I know you can't right now, Sliker, but we're gonna fix that in a second.
Okay.
So I'm gonna screen share with you, and I just want to check in with chat that they can see what I've got here. Can you all see? Okay. Chat. This is the only time I don't usually pay attention to chat. No offense, chat. Okay, great. All right, so Sliker, you're asking, can we move on? All right, so a couple of things. Oh, Bluetooth. Connect. There we go. Okay, so you're asking, can we move on? First thing that I'd say, Sliker, is that I do think, this is absolutely a question. You said you were seeing a therapist for a little while, and this is something that I strongly encourage you and everyone else. We're going to learn some basic principles today, and sort of like almost what I would teach if I was teaching medical students or psychiatry residents, and they asked me, hey, can a patient recover from an addiction? This is sort of the answer I would give. Does that make sense, Sliker?
Can a patient recover from an addiction?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the question that you were asking when you said, can I move on?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So let's understand like why an addiction happens, like whether people, and then we'll be able to figure out whether you can kind of quote unquote move on or not.
Inshallah.
So the first thing to understand is that if we sort of like look at your history, right? You're someone who is impulsive and, how can I say this? Vulnerable
Okay.
to having fun.
Yes.
Okay. So like, do you kind of get what I mean? It's like, okay, you're down in the stairwell and someone is like, hey, Sliker, you want to hit this fire alarm? And you're like, yeah, bitch, let's go. You're sitting there at your uncle's like restaurant, getting ready to make burgers or whatever. And you're like, wow, let me spit on this. Like, let's see what happens. And it's like, that's pretty cool. It's sizzling. So do you see how like things that other people would not consider fun, or even things that other people would consider like foolish or stupid,
Right.
you actually kind of like enjoy doing? And it's almost, I don't mean this in a bad way, it's almost like childlike with the level of joy that you get. If you really think about it, like, watching, if you take a 4-year-old kid and they spit on something hot, and the child enjoys watching water sizzle, I don't think that that's a bad thing. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's just the simple joy of like, okay, this is cool. This is physics. It's like water is
I get it,
evaporating.
yeah.
Like something gets lit on fire. Like, oh, let's have a good time. Let's like, so this is what I kind of mean. There's like a vulnerability to having fun.
Right.
Okay.
That's crazy. I'm compared to a 4-year-old. Damn.
No. I don't. I didn't mean it as an insult.
No,
I think,
don't worry about it. I believe I act like a 10-year-old. So to be honest, it's not really.
No. So and there's a part of that that's true. I actually think that there's a lot of almost something to be aspiring to. I'm not trying to troll you here, but I think actually a big problem in the world is that we cannot enjoy things the way that you could enjoy them. Like,
Right,
I actually
right,
think
no.
watching something sizzle, like watching water sizzle, is not like a bad thing.
Right.
Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the world would be a very different place if we could just appreciate like normal, ordinary things, like watching water sizzle.
Right.
And like,
right.
what happens if I, light something on? I mean, I don't think we should go around lighting things on fire, but like, fire is cool, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's cool to watch things burn. Like, we all love fireworks.
Right.
Point is that there's I think that if we look at the way that your brain kind of works, and this is also consistent with having ADHD, you don't really think through the consequences before you act.
True. I don't think before doing stuff. True.
Right?
True.
And so if you kind of think about it, what is it that, if you don't think about what's going to happen when you do stuff, what is it that drives you to do something?
I don't know. Just me. Instantly, I know instinct. I just instantly do it. I don't know.
Okay.
Anything I see, like, I don't know. That's crazy.
Okay, so what you call instinct, I'm going to call impulsivity, okay? It's kind of the same thing. But I think the other thing is that what drives you is like, this is going to be good. Do you kind of get that? Like, anytime you do something, pardon me for saying so, but anytime you do something stupid, You think that something good is going to come out of it. Like, I'm going to spit on this thing. Let's see what happens. I'm going to hit this firearm. Let's see what happens. Like, this is going to be lit. It's going to be great.
Right.
Let me put a cheeky tenor on this. Like, let's just win some. Like, let's go, baby. Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
You know that kind of feeling that I'm talking about of like, let's go. Like, let's have a good time.
Right.
Okay.
But as a
Now-
grown adult, though, at 29, to do stuff like that is, that's bad.
It can be, but I also think that there are many 40-year-olds who I think would be happier in life if they lived a little bit closer to the way that you have lived in the past. Right? Simple joys.
Okay, right, okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is what we're talking about it like it's a bad thing, but I would also say that this is simple joys.
Right,
Okay?
yeah.
You kind of get what I'm saying there? I don't think it's necessarily bad.
Okay,
I mean,
right,
the way that you engage with it has been harmful in the past.
Yeah.
That I'll agree with.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think you should start putting cheeky tenors on things.
No,
Fine.
no.
But let's understand that what you have is my goal with this is to explain this to you and then for you to decide what is good and what is bad.
Right,
Okay?
Okay.
All right. So this is just kind of your makeup. Now, there's a couple of other things to understand. So when we gamble or other things, so you mentioned like masturbation,
Okay.
gambling. Okay. And then there's also other things here like alcohol, video games,
Right.
right? So like all of these things in the brain are going to release dopamine.
Video
In
games
this part
release
of our-
dopamine.
Huh?
Video games releases dopamine.
100%.
How? What is dopamine?
Great question. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter. So that means that it's a chemical signal throughout our body and brain.
Ah.
So in the brain, we have different parts of our brain that dopamine does different things. So we have this
Okay.
part of our brain called the nucleus accumbens. And the nucleus accumbens is where we experience pleasure, where we have behavioral reinforcement.
Yep, true.
So I'll explain what this means, okay? Sorry, my handwriting is terrible.
That's fine.
So when I do something and I have fun, I want to do it again, right? So if I like get a gift and then what happens, when I have fun in real life, what is happening in my brain? That experience of fun is governed by dopamine and the nucleus accumbens. And then the reason that the brain works like this is because it wants to reinforce behaviors that are pleasurable. So this is why, like, if we look at, like, let's say 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, when human beings didn't have the food that we have today, carbohydrates, sugars, and fats led to a survival increase. So if I just ate, like, vegetables all the time, I wouldn't survive. I would need to eat calorie-dense food because calorie-dense food helps human beings survive. Okay?
Right.
Like in nature, we're talking about, right?
Right.
So then what happens is our brain is like, okay, this food helps me survive. Leaves don't help me survive, but fried potatoes help me survive. So I'm going to release more dopamine in the nucleus accumbens when I have chips or French fries, and because that'll help me survive. And then we're going to want chips or French fries again.
Right.
So
okay.
pleasure and reinforcing a behavior go hand in hand. Okay, so now we can look at these kinds of things. So masturbation, we feel good, right? When you tug one out.
Yep.
Alcohol, we feel good. Video games, we feel good. Like when you pop a headshot in CSGO, it's like, let's go,
Right.
right? It's like, hey, I'm going to bet $500 on this. And when we win, it feels good. You with me?
Yep.
It's kind of the same feeling as when you're 1v5 in CSGO and like you think you're about to lose, but then you kind of reverse sweep them and you headshot people. You're out of ammo. You've got your knife left and there's still 2 of them left. And then you end up winning the match and you win with a knife without ammo. It's like, that's pretty fucking epic. Like, it's great, right? So, but dopamine also does other things. So it also does movement. So it's not just pleasure. So for example, when I move my hand like this, like if you just move your hand across your face, that's governed by dopamine. When we have a dopamine deficiency, we get like this thing where we can't move our hands smoothly and stuff like that. Anyway, it does more than that, okay?
Right.
So the key thing here is that if we look at kind of the way your brain is probably wired, this is what we know about people who get into problems with addiction, is that you're going to have problems with like multiple things. So sometimes you'll have a quote unquote drug of choice, but the basic issue here is that you are vulnerable to having fun, which is like a vulnerability to dopamine release in your brain.
Okay.
Okay. Now we have to look at a couple of other things. So this is kind of the way you're wired. This is also consistent with ADHD. So people with ADHD are more vulnerable to addictions.
Damn.
Okay? Not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just the way that your brain is wired. So now let's understand a couple of things. So if we look at people who get addicted to stuff, they have a couple of neuroscience deficits. And that doesn't mean you're stupid or anything. These things can be built. But naturally, the way that your brain grows, it's wired in a certain way, and we need to work harder to wire other things. So the first thing is a lack of internal awareness. So this is consistent. You following what that means? I'll explain it. Okay.
Right.
So this is consistent with just about every patient I've worked with who has struggled with addictions. So internally, we have all kinds of emotions. We have an ego. And when these things are bad, so when you're feeling like a lack of confidence, when you're feeling sad or pathetic, all right, I'm going to actually use like masculine language here. When you're feeling pathetic, when you're feeling dispensable, because here's the thing to understand, men experience emotions differently.
Yeah.
And a lot of the emotional language that we use in psychology and psychiatry, like we'll use these words like sadness and shame and whatever. But in my experience, that's not the experience that men have. I don't feel sad. What I feel is pathetic. And those are kind of the same things, but we just have different language for it. So we'll feel sad, we'll feel dispensable, we'll feel like a fucking pussy, right? So like if I ask a dude, like, how are you feeling today? They'll say like, I don't know. And I'm like, are you a fucking pussy, bro? And he's like, yeah, man. But what is that? That's what we call shame. You see what I mean? Like shame or guilt is going to make, but that's not our experience of it. I guess we don't like wake up and we're like, oh man, I'm ashamed of myself today. You wake up and you say like, man, I'm a fucking loser. Like, why am I such a fucking loser? Right? That's what our subjective experience is. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now your brain has an issue. So it is vulnerable to having fun. It is vulnerable to dopamine, but it's not just a vulnerability, it's also an advantage. Because now your dopamine signal is so strong that any of this stuff that you are feeling will disappear if you can trigger this. So if we look at kind of like what's going on in people who are addicted, can you move on? Well, that depends. If this shit gets out of check, your brain knows that there's a 100% way to fix any of these problems. You know all these fucking losers out here who fucking whining about their emotions and like, oh man, like I'm so sad and like, oh my God, I'm so pathetic. And your brain is like, fuck that.
Yeah.
We can make all that shit go away. Let's just place a little bet.
Right.
Let's be on top of the world. You have a one-way ticket, an all-access pass to being on top of the world any fucking time you want. All you got to do, bet some money. Right? Because when your brain knows, I have $1 left in my bank account. If I place that bet, what are you going to get, son? I've never played slots before, so it ain't a problem. I haven't had a problem with slots, and it's just $1 left in my bank account. What am I going to do? How am I going to fix my life with $1? You can't do shit with $1. Can't even buy gum.
Yep, true.
So what does your brain tell you? What are you going to do with that dollar, Sliker?
I mean, now?
In the dream.
Oh, obviously, bet it.
Bet it, right? Because when you bet that dollar, what's going to happen, Sliker?
Become a millionaire.
Not a millionaire, 37,000, right? So your brain is like, it's not crazy. It's smart. It knows that you can't become a millionaire off of $1, but you can win the jackpot.
True.
And then even then your brain is like, hey, look, we're smart. We made all this fucking mistakes. We've gambled away $300,000. We're not going to gamble. We won $37,000, 857 or whatever, right? That's what you said, something like that. Are you in your brain, in your dream, do you gamble away the 37,000?
No.
No, you gamble away the $7. We can afford to lose that.
Yep.
We can afford it.
Yep.
Right? It's okay, bruh. Don't worry about it. You got this, bruv. You feel me, bruv? We can do 7. It's just 7 quid, bruv. You got 37,000 in the bank. Come on, man. You deserve it. It's a little bit of fun. Let's go. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so your brain is like it's interesting. We'll get to that in a second. But the key thing to understand is that there's a lack of internal awareness. And when there's a lack of internal awareness, negative emotions can pile up. Okay? So here's your negative emotions. And the thing is, your brain has a really interesting way where it can get rid of all these negative emotions. It can get rid of them through these things over here. Okay?
Yeah.
You kind of following me? Like the masturbation, the gambling, playing games, whatever. It just shuts off our negative emotions. And even if we ask you, what was your experience when you lose? You'd smack a pillow a couple times, you'd rage, you'd cry.
And I'd
then your
also
mind
rage
is-
at people. I'd actually rage at people. I'd rage at my viewers. I'd rage at my parents.
You'd rage at these people who are fucking throwing tennis matches because they've taken this thing
Oh
away
my,
from
yep,
you.
Yep.
Oh my God, you were supposed to win. Don't you remember? You were supposed to win. That's how it was supposed to be.
Yep.
And these fuckers, they took it away. Fuck them.
They were rigged, Dr. K. I'm telling you, they were all rigged.
But they were rigged last time. They're not going to be rigged next time. This time it's going to work because how
True.
many times can
Yep,
tennis
yep,
matches be
yep.
rigged?
Yeah.
Okay? So now we get to the third thing. So this is something you've got to understand. Can you move on? Well, that depends. I think the more that you are aware of this kind of stuff, the better off you will be. Okay? Because if you can manage your internal emotional state, so this kind of gets to, I know my handwriting is terrible. If you can't read something,
can-
let me know and
I can
I'll,
see.
I'll explain it. But here's the thing to understand. If we look at the times when you weren't gambling, I don't think it's just that you had money in your bank account, because you've had money in your bank account and you've gambled, and you've had no money in your bank account and you've gambled as well. I
Right.
don't think it's the money in the bank account. I think it's when you were making money, your life was better in a lot of ways and you were feeling emotionally better. Your ego was also better, right? Because
True.
now you're making it, right? You're an
Right.
important person. It's not just the money. It's that, look at me, like I'm on Austin shows, like I'm on Raj Patel's whatever like show, and like all these other people, like we're collabing with people like XQC and Ludwig, and like I'm a big boy, right? I'm a man now. Like this
Yeah.
is what it is. Like I'm
True,
a
true.
streamer. I've made it. I ain't some chump. Like look at how awesome I am.
Yep.
So when you feel good about yourself, there's no need to gamble. But I don't think it's just the money in the bank account. I think it's the internal stuff, which many people, so men are at a disadvantage to begin with because we are not taught about our internal emotional state. And then furthermore, a lot of women aren't either, but this is sort of the way that men are raised. But as long as you're not aware of your internal emotional state, you're going to be vulnerable to this stuff. Because there's going to be things happening inside you that will be controlling your mind.
Yep.
And then we get to something that's very important. We need to understand signs of an addict's mind. So, and you've got kind of a classic addict's mind. Give me a second.
So I'm not the first. What about others, though, Doctor? So am I the first person you spoke to that's got like a gambling addiction?
No.
So,
What?
but have they done the same thing that I would do, like ask other people?
Fucking A, yeah, dude. Every
Okay.
single one.
So okay, I'm sorry. Just one thing. I know it's my fault and I take responsibility. But when they ask, if someone, for example, asks, do I jump and blame the addiction, or do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. So that's a great question. So do you blame the addiction? I would say that the addiction is not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
true. No, that makes sense. Okay.
Right. So if you ask, I mean, I think that like I don't know that blame actually like matters. So I think the problem is that a lot of people with addictions will absolve themselves of the responsibility because there's an addiction. So they'll
Yep.
say like, like, oh, and so I think you're still responsible. It
No,
was you,
100%.
right?
Yep,
And you
yep.
could have made 1,000 other choices in 1,000 moments in your life that could have altered the course of where you are today.
True.
And at the same time, we also need to acknowledge that you were dealt a like pretty shitty hand. So some people aren't like, the reason I'm not addicted to gambling is because my brain is probably a little bit different from yours. I don't get to take credit for that. right? It's not because I'm like a better person and you made some comparisons between me and you. I got married at the age of 28. That doesn't mean that I'm a better person than you or more competent. We'll get to this more at the end.
Oh
But
no, you are.
it just, I disagree, and we can talk about that more, right? It just means that my hand in life is different. So you said you believe in Allah, right? So like Allah made you the way that he made you, and he made me the way that he made me.
Right.
And I don't get to take credit for that.
No, but that only depends if you don't believe in that, though.
I believe something close enough to
Okay.
where I mean, I think even scientifically, we can all acknowledge that each of us has a brain that we don't get to control. Each of us has an upbringing that we don't get to control.
Yeah.
So like we only really start exercising control in our life by the time we're like maybe like 17, 18, 15 if we're super lucky. So does that kind of make sense? So I think that like people who are, yeah. So I mean, I've just learned that a lot of the stuff that people are impressed about when it comes to me, I actually can't take credit for. Right? Like I know it sounds kind of weird. Like so I get to take credit for my actions, but whatever my IQ is, whatever, however loving my parents were, my parents were also like financially very stable. So like they gave me opportunities that I don't get to take credit for. I was like failing out of college, but like when they sent me to India, they bought my ticket.
Right.
Right. So whenever they supported me, like I had so much financial support. It's like it's apples and oranges. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about the addict's mind for a second. So, not my viewers. So early on, when you were hitting people up for money, what your mind said was not from my viewers, right?
Well, huh?
So you talked about a period of time when you started borrowing money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so your mind is, we need money.
Yeah.
Let's borrow it.
Right.
And then your mind said, but not from my viewers for some time.
Yeah.
Eventually it changed. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's how you know whether you have an addict's mind or not. Is that your mind will give you some kind of justification, but at the end of the day, you're still borrowing money.
Right.
Does that make sense? So the hallmark of the addict's mind is it gives you a justification, but no matter what the justification is, you're still going to gamble. So at the beginning, you said, I'm going to use my own money. I'm not going to borrow anything else. But what is your mind telling you to do? It's giving you permission. It's saying, go gamble, Sliker. It's okay. As long as we don't cross this line, so we're over here. Let's say here's the gambling threshold, okay? And then this is the line that we're not going to cross. This is other people. And then what happens is you borrow money from them, and then this changes to not my viewers. I don't know if this kind of makes sense. But your mind will always let you gamble, but it'll give some kind of artificial rules. But at the end of the day, it's saying, okay, like we've got $10,000 in the bank. Oh, we've got 50, you had 50K. And so what does your mind tell you? Your mind tells you, okay, we can bet a little bit, right? Even in the dream, even when you get to control things, it says we can afford to spend $7. So no matter what happens, okay, $7, gamble. Not my viewers, gamble. And when it becomes your viewers, let's make personal videos. Gamble. So do you see that no matter what your mind, whatever happens in your mind comes up with some kinds of thoughts, but the behavior is always the same.
Yeah.
All roads lead to this. And I see this a lot. Maybe I'll use an example because I don't think I'm explaining this the best. But I see this a lot with people who smoke pot.
Okay.
And when people use marijuana, they say, hey, it's not addictive, right? That means I can use every day. Or is it like I don't get high every day? That means it's okay. Their mind will move into whatever position it needs to make it okay to use today.
Right.
Today, it's okay. In the
Right.
future, I won't worry about it. In the future, this is the line. But like today, like it'll give you whatever information to allow your brain to engage in whatever the addiction is. This is the hallmark of the addict's mind.
Okay.
When your mind starts twisting and turning, and the answer is always the same, today is okay, but tomorrow will be different.
Yeah, I see. Yep, true.
Right? So if your mind starts doing that, the answer is always good. You can provide whatever justification. This thing will change. This column will change every single
Yeah.
day, but the end result will always be the same.
Yeah.
Oh, as long as my parents don't know, it's okay. As long as I limit it, it's okay. As long as this happens, as long as blah, 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 as long as this person doesn't know, as long as I don't do this, I'm going to, and the thing is the what is acceptable and what is unacceptable keeps moving. Right? That's what happens. As you said one day, as long as I don't take it from my viewers, it's okay.
And then on to another.
Oh,
Oh.
it's okay. But as long as something like that happens, like that, this is the hallmark of the addict's mind, is that if your mind is telling you, if there's a part of you that knows that this is a bad idea, but then your mind says, it's okay if we use this kind of logic, it makes it okay today. That's the addict's mind. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
So
So-
the end goal is just gamble, no matter what.
Exactly. Right? So and let me just go ahead and move this over here. And then I'm gonna stop screen sharing with you, and we're gonna go back to this. So you kind of asked, can you ever move on? So what I would say, if I was teaching a class, so I don't know specifically about you. I think that's something that it's worthwhile to talk to a therapist or psychologist and work through what your specific limits are. But I would say that your brain is vulnerable to this, probably for a better part of a lot of your life.
Wait, sorry.
Right, so-
vulnerable. What does it mean? What does it mean for vulnerable? Immune.
So that means that your brain is always going to have that one-way ticket to feeling good.
Okay.
That I don't think is going to change.
Okay.
But the key thing is that there are certain things that you can do to
Prevent
there's certain armor that you can wear to protect you against that vulnerability. So this is things like emotional awareness,
like
confidence. Yeah.
Like I've had sometimes like I would be like thinking like, oh, like I'd watch a tennis game. I'd be like, damn, this game, what was the odds? He actually lost. Oh my god, that would have been crazy. Imagine I went for it. But then I'd think and be like, yeah, but if I done that, what are the bad things that's gonna happen? I'm no matter what, I'm gonna lose the money. Regardless, I'm gonna lose the money. Even if I win big, I'll start losing money. And what happens if I lose the money? I'm gonna go back to the same thing that happened in the past. I ruin my life again.
Very good. So what's changed there? So let's say 10 years ago, you did not think about the consequences.
Right.
Your brain just saw the upside. And now if we literally look at your thoughts, you have new thoughts in your head, which are no matter what, this is going to end in shambles.
Yeah.
Right? This is not going to work out the way that my mind tells me. But that's that vulnerable to fun. That's that kid who punched the fire alarm. That's that kid who's like, fuck it, let's go.
Yep.
Right? So that part is always going to be there in some form. So it can get better. So there's evidence that shows that, some people do grow out of addictions for sure. But the reason that I'm saying that, the reason I'm not emphasizing that is because every person who's listening to this may have an addict's mind. And they're going to listen to this, and Dr. K says, oh, hey, I can grow out of this addiction, which means what is their addict's mind going to do? If Dr. K says that they can grow out of the addiction, what are they going to do, Sliker?
Not?
They're going to start gambling.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
So not. So yeah.
Right? Because yeah. So you're going to like use it as an excuse. Hey, Dr. K said that I can grow out of this.
Yeah.
That means it's okay, right? It's okay today. I can grow out of it. I've probably grown out of it now. Let's go, Sliker. Come on. Just a tenner. Cheeky tenner. Let's go.
That's what I was actually wondering though about the casinos and stuff. Like, I've been invited to them, and
Of course you have, bro.
No, and sometimes I'm like, what's the problem if I do go? But do you think it's similar? Could I get caught up? Because I want to give you an example.
Yes.
I did a sponsor for a casino slot. It was boring. Never touched it again. I did the slots, all that. It was boring. Jump back into sports. What I say to other people, I say that it's like a weed. Now I'm gonna be 100% wrong because obviously but my thought is like a guy that smokes weed is addicted to weed, but if he tries heroin, he's not gonna be addicted to heroin.
That's true. And I would say that this is where like this is why it's kind of like an individual discussion. So we do know that people will sometimes have drugs of choice. Okay? So what that sort of means is that you have a certain vulnerability in your brain, you have a certain genetics that makes you prone to be addicted to, let's say, heroin,
Yep.
but not Adderall or not marijuana or not alcohol. So we know that that's absolutely there. I would still say though that the question I think is not about whether you can get away with it or not. I think because that's what the addict's mind says, and you may be able to. It's very individual. But my question is, what's the life that you want to live?
No, you're right.
Do
No,
you
that's
want to
right.
take the chance?
True. No, you're actually 100% right on that.
Right?
Yep.
It's not about whether you can get away with it. It's like, what do you want your life to be?
Why should I even test myself doing it? You know?
Exactly.
No, it's true.
Right? And so you say, can you move on? I mean, I would say that in a lot of ways you have. But this is the thing to remember is this is a big mistake that a lot of people make once they get sober. They think, I am sober.
Confidence.
It's the circumstances that you have right now that let you be sober. If you change the circumstances, there's a decent chance you'll relapse. See, sobriety is environmental. This is something that we understand very well from the research. This is why we send people to Alcoholics Anonymous. Even psychotherapy sometimes is not enough. You need peer support. You need all kinds of other things. So like I used to work at a drug rehab. So people would come for 30 days and they would be sober because they're in a fucking drug rehab.
Right.
I've been sober for 30 days. The reason you've been sober it's been easy because you're not trapped. I mean, you can walk out anytime you want to, but like you basically don't have access to anything. But once you start hanging out with the same people, once you start, going back to the stress of like your job or your marriage or whatever, once the environment changes, the vulnerability will arise again.
Yep.
And
true.
so can you move on? I mean, I would say it's possible that you would move on, but I think for a lot of people who struggle with addiction, it's not worth it to try.
Yeah.
Has been my experience with the majority of my patients. Right? This is just the way that your life is. And you're trading one life for another life. And it's about choosing which life you want. Do you want a life of high highs and low lows? Because let's be honest, the life that you had was pretty fucking epic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
This is something we don't say enough.
True.
Everyone talks about addiction like it's a bad thing, and I think on balance, it's a bad thing, but oh my God, while it's good, it's so good. An ordinary life cannot compete. That feeling of winning $6,000, like you're going to get some check in your bank account for 400 quid because you worked a hard week. Like that can feel good and manly in some ways, but to make $6,000 or quid or pounds or whatever, like in 6 seconds you're going to lose that part of your life. You just can't win like that.
Yep. You gotta work for it. That's my brain is like, you're working for that money. You're just throwing it away no matter what, regardless.
Yeah.
So.
And then this is the other thing, right? So if we look at the addict's mind, when you gamble, you weren't going to lose. You were going to win.
True.
And so what does that tell? All roads lead to one place. It's okay to do it today.
Yep.
You're going to win. Oh, last time it was fucking rigged. She threw or he threw in the sports match. This time it's going to be different. End conclusion, gamble. End conclusion, gamble. And whatever it's going to come up with, it's going to be so creative.
Yep.
You're an artist, Sliker. Your mind is Leonardo da Vinci of coming up with excuses to let you
No,
gamble.
you're not wrong. Unfortunately, in a bad way though.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So this is the problem with addiction, is that the power of your mind is turned against you.
Yep.
This is why it's so hard to overcome. Because you're not fighting the addiction. What you're really fighting is yourself. It's like one of these, I don't know, these like animes or video games or whatever, where you've got some parasite in your head that takes control of you.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
And this is what a lot of people don't understand. People think, oh, I'm addicted, I'm stupid. You're not stupid. The problem is you're fucking brilliant. The problem is that you're gifted. And the problem is that mind is being turned against you.
But very weak. Very weak. I feel like it. Like I'm very weak, not able to control myself at those particular points.
That you are weak in, 100%. So you have a powerful mind, but your ability to control it is weak.
Yep.
So this is like, I'm going to go for a walk And on the other end of the leash, I'm going to have a grizzly bear.
Right.
This is what it's like to be addicted. And
Yeah.
then you're not taking the grizzly bear for a walk. The grizzly bear's fucking taking you for a walk.
Right.
And the goal is to turn the grizzly bear into like a mouse, right? For you to get so big, and we could talk about how to do that. For you to train yourself, and that's where the emotional awareness comes in and the confidence comes in. Because the more confident you become and the more aware you become of your internal emotional state, that's how we make the grizzly bear smaller, and that's how we make you stronger. And so as you develop confidence in yourself, and there are other tools that we can use. So one of my favorites is Vairagya, which means detachment. Okay.
Face of Viagra.
Yeah. No, not Viagra. That's another favorite tool, but for a different. Vairagya is detachment. So that means that for you to be able to take a step back and say, you know what? I don't actually want this joy. It's okay for me to not have this joy. It's okay for me to have a life that is less than perfect. I can learn to be content with what I have. I've got a nice cup of tea and I can drink this, and the joy and pleasure from this is enough. Yes, there's a lot more fun over there. And this happens to me like almost every day. There's a part of me, you play any MOBAs, League of Legends or Dota or anything?
Yep, unfortunately. Yep, League of Legends.
I play Dota. And almost every day I have this desire to play Dota.
Right.
And one day I'll crack and I'll play some Dota. And the thing is, I fucking suck, right? Because like unless you practice, you're bad. And I'm like, I'm tired of being bad. Like I don't want to lose. Like I want to win.
Yep.
And then I think to myself, okay, like now I'm going to get serious. I'm going to start like practicing. Like I'm going to like get good at this game. And then because I really want that, then I take a step back and I ask myself, is this really what I want? Do I want to spend like I could write a book or I can get good at Dota 2. It's the same amount of effort, honestly.
Yeah.
Like literally write a book or I could get good at Dota 2. And so we have to learn to detach. We have to learn to take a step back from, okay, this joy in life is like not mine. Like it's okay. Let me like learn to be content with what I have. Because if you really stop and think about it, your joy in life is actually can be pretty high. You won't get that same level of dopamine, but you can enjoy taking a piss, man. Like one of the most blissful activities is if you've been like, you've been in a car for a while and you're waiting for the bathroom and like, oh my God, just taking a piss.
Yeah, true.
Right? There's joy everywhere in life. We just don't know how to look for it. We don't need any of that stuff. So can you move on? I think the answer is maybe. Can you get away with gambling in a casino? Maybe. I think the question is, what kind of life do you want to live and do you want to risk it? Is it worth it?
Right. Yep.
That's not a question I can answer for you.
Yeah, of course I'm the one that has to answer that. And like, no, you're right, because like I used to think of that as well a lot. Like when I was streaming, I was like, what? I didn't think of it like that. During the times when I was streaming, I was messaging a girl thinking of getting married to her but I didn't think of my minus. I was just thinking, no, I'm gonna marry you, But to realize it when you're actually rock bottom, you actually come to realize, what happened, what you did, and who it may have affected. Because I didn't think of when it was me. When I was streaming and I was doing it, I was like, suicidal thoughts and I want to do suicide. But I didn't really think of the people that I took money from because they could have had suicidal thoughts from what I was doing to them. That all came in when I, was actually started working and, when I got caught and, it really started making me realize more and more.
So let's talk about this. So this is another thing. So there's 6 neuroscientists. This is kind of my theory. But in my opinion, there are 6 neuroscientific deficits in people who have addictions. You've stumbled on a second one, which is a lack of empathy. So our brain is not wired. It's not your fault, right? This is very important to understand because empathy is a skill just like anything else. It's taught to people.
Okay.
So if you have parents that were very empathic, and it sounds like your parents were not very empathic, right? It sounds like your parents, we haven't talked too much about it, but I would guess that there were times when you were young when you wanted something and your dad was basically like, no. He didn't give a shit what you wanted.
Yep.
He didn't think about you. There's right and there's wrong. If you do right, you're okay. I don't give a shit about your opinion and your feelings, bruh. Like,
yeah, yeah.
So when we're raised with strict parents like that, they don't teach us empathy. Our parents, your dad wasn't like, oh, Sliker, beta, I know you want to do this, and beta, I love you so much, but we cannot, beta. He's like, pop.
Yeah. Bamboo stick, not pot. I would be lucky with that. It was a bamboo stick.
Right? You fucking read your hour. I don't care that you have ADHD. I don't care that your mind literally cannot concentrate. I don't care about any of that. When I tell you to do something, you fucking do it. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about what you think. I don't care about anything that's going on inside you.
Yeah.
Your internal environment is completely useless to me. And when you grow up in a household like that, how are you supposed to learn as a 7-year-old child to think about other people? What you're taught is that there's right and there's wrong. Haram or halal, right? Two things.
Yeah.
Right and wrong. We don't care about your feelings. And when you're raised like that, I'm not trying to be anti-Muslim. My parents were like that, and Hindus are like that, Christians are like that. It's different parents. It's not religion specific. Which is sad, but anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that's like another thing where you don't know how to think about other people, and that's not your fault, but you can start, right? You can start by sort of thinking a little bit about, okay, how does this person feel? Like what will this, and you can listen to other people. And this is where we get to your question. You asked the question about women. Would a woman be okay with what? You asked some question about women.
Oh,
like
would they be okay with my past? You
Yeah,
know,
so-
like how awkward would that be? Oh, I scammed 300K. Ew. You know, that's the first.
So I know it sounds kind of weird, but like, would a woman be okay? I have no idea. Understand that women, just like men, are individuals, and some will be okay with it, and some will not be okay with it. And I would bet money that
Okay.
more of them will be, I don't know, I don't even know, I'm not saying 51%, but I think as compared to you not having a gambling problem, I think more humans would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Right? But I think this is the cool thing is that
Wait.
I think that, huh?
No, how?
What do you mean?
How would they be okay with it though? More people.
How would anyone be okay with it?
Yeah, but you said 51% would be
No,
okay.
so I'm not saying that 51, I don't know what the percentage is.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying if you take two human beings,
Yeah.
one who has a gambling addiction and one who doesn't have a gambling addiction, I think more people would be easily accepting of the person with no addiction.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Sorry.
Right? So
Yeah.
no, I did a bad job explaining it. So I'm with you that it's another uphill battle that you have to fight or climb. And at the same time, I think that like my experience working with people who are addicted is that like love is like pretty fucking powerful, man.
Yep.
And I think the main thing is that, you kind of say that you've grown from it. And like, I've seen so many healthy relationships come out of recovery from addiction. Because when you're addicted to something, you have to learn about yourself in a way that the average person doesn't. You have to work so hard to be normal. And that work ethic, that self-understanding actually makes you better at relationships.
Yeah. Yep.
So if you've never been addicted, this internal emotional awareness, this ego, all this kind of crap, like you've done a lot of soul searching, Sliker. You kind of get what I'm saying? You're still in the process.
Okay.
But even simple shit, like so many women will complain because their boyfriends don't make their fucking bed and do their fucking laundry and are not like, because they've got mama, right?
Right.
And especially if is your mom Iraqi too?
Yep. Goddamn right.
Yeah. So like in us fucking Middle East, South Asian, like that's the worst.
Yeah.
Like women in the audience know what I'm talking about. If
Oh,
you
no,
date
you're right,
like an
you're right.
Indian boy or Pakistani boy or like Iraqi boy, like, their mamas will wipe their ass when they're 45.
when I was like 15, my mom used to dry me. Wait, no, as in,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's our culture. We
Not 15, not 15,
infantilize
10.
we infantilize our kids in our cultures, right? Oh my God, Sliker is such a good boy, such a great boy. Like, don't ever leave, Sliker. Like, don't. You're worried about women not accepting you because you have a gambling addiction. You need to worry more about what your mom is going to do with your girlfriend and vice versa.
Oh my days. Actually, she did accept it. To be honest, I was shocked. I was like, my mom gonna be hating
you're
that.
lucky.
Yeah, very. Well, yeah. No, you're right though.
So I think you give people a chance, right? And I think you recognize that. I mean, I'm not saying that your life would be better if you didn't have a game. I mean, I think if you didn't have a gambling addiction, I think you can easily say that your life would have been better. But I think that you've got to also understand that the way that you're growing out of this, I think will make you a healthier partner for a relationship. And some
Facts, no,
people are willing to see that, and some people aren't. And
no,
that's
true.
okay.
Yep.
I've seen enough people who are married to and have healthy relationships with recovering addicts to where I wouldn't. I mean, is it a disadvantage? Yes, but I don't think it's insurmountable.
I feel like it was like I paid less attention to her. And paid more, obviously more attention to gambling. Like I would even like times where it was important, I wouldn't even buy her stuff. Spend it on myself and go all in on a game. You know?
Yeah, so I think if you want to have a good girlfriend, just don't be a shitty boyfriend,
Right? No, facts, yeah. And
right?
yeah, true.
So I wouldn't worry. I mean, like it's a disadvantage, and people will judge you for it, Slicker. They will,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I wish
I
that weren't the case,
and
but
and that's why I say I move on and I look at my past, and if anyone tries to attack it with me, I'm like, you know what? That ain't me anymore, so I'm gonna smile at that. It was a joke. It was a joke of a past. Does that make any sense?
yeah, I think that's your way of developing a narrative around it, right? Like you disrespect someone else disrespects the person you used to be, and you disrespect the person you used to be. That's not even unhealthy.
Oh,
That person was a joke, and I'm no longer going to be that person.
yeah, and
That sounds inspirational to me.
I even make jokes about it. Like even for my tweet, I made a joke. Now you tell me if that's okay or good. Should I send it to you, or do you wanna like? Should I just explain it? I
Explain
can.
it.
I'll explain it. So I went to London, saw a Lamborghini, took a picture in front of it, and I tweet out saying, "Guys, I just won big in sports betting, and like thank you for everyone who's been there for me," as a joke, and people were believing it, but I put like hashtag saying like this is sarcasm and stuff. That's what I want to do. I want to like look at it and just be like, you know what, just laugh at. I think that is a way for me to move forward.
It's
Not take gambling too serious and just be like, it'll be like it's a joke.
so I think that seems consistent with who you are, right? That's the kid. That's the way that the kid who punches the fire alarm is going to
Fuck.
grow out of this.
Fuck.
And at the same time, Slicker, I think you've got to understand that for the people who you scammed money from, for you to be joking about it, it's going to hurt. It's not going to be received the best from some people. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's not my place to
No,
judge
I
right or wrong.
understand
I'm
that.
saying,
True.
right?
And I'd never want to disrespect them. I'd never want to disrespect them. It's just I know the audience that's out there. Like if they message, I have reached out to a lot of them, and I've just checked up on them, hope they're okay and stuff like that. And they kind of some of them know I'm kind of like on streaming and stuff like that. And then of course, if anyone is offended, like if Ludwig or any of those people said like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm sorry." Like,
yeah.
yo,
So
I apologize.
and I
You
think
know.
you've got to figure out what's right for you. But I think that it's very common for human beings to use humor to overcome hardship.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Right? There's even some interesting like papers about Jewish people, and hopefully I'm not getting canceled here. This is not disrespectful, hopefully, but the Jewish people are very famous. Like even Jewish comedians will talk about their predisposition towards humor, and it's because they've gone through so much hardship that it's almost become culturally a part of the culture to be funny. And if that offends anyone, I apologize. But like that's what we just sort of know is that when cultures and families and stuff like that, when human beings go through difficulty, we laugh. And that's one of the ways that we move past it.
But it is wrong. It is wrong. It is. Yep. No,
I,
is.
that's like I said, that's for you to decide. I'm not saying that it's
Because
right
like
or
no
wrong.
matter what, I will never be able to escape from it. It's gonna be there for the rest of my life. So that's
And
why I say like for myself, I could use that and just show that like you can every time
sure,
I tweet, oh yo that begging guy or that scamming guy. So all I can say is that I'm gonna have to start like showing that there's no you whatever you say ain't gonna hurt me in a way. But yeah, no.
so I think there's a couple things there. So one is that like I think whatever you say ain't gonna hurt me is very
Bullshit.
like I don't think it's bad,
Okay.
but I also think like it's okay for things to hurt you.
Uh.
Being hurt is not the end of the world, right? Being
Okay.
able to handle the hurt, being able to
But
process
it
the
lacks
hurt.
with confidence. For
What?
my
Be,
what was that?
What lacks confidence?
Myself, I lack with confidence when I'm like, okay, I'm scared to tweet, I'm scared to say something, I'm scared to do this and that. I'm gonna get this response. Goes to, I show these guys like, okay, you go try ahead and attack me with it, but I'm not gonna. But any of the people that are scammed, of course, like again, like I will not want to disrespect them.
Yeah, yeah. So I see what you're saying about using humor to kind of build up your confidence, but I would say that there's even a level past that, which is like, I don't know if this makes sense, but to be confident in yourself as a flawed person to where you don't need to flex.
Okay, no, that's a man. Right, right,
Right. So you want to know, you asked me a question, what do I think a man is?
yeah,
I think a man is someone who doesn't need to flex,
okay,
which is interesting because most of the alpha males out there are doing the exact opposite.
yep, yep, true.
And maybe I'm wrong, right? So this is just my opinion. You asked me someone who doesn't need to flex, right? You're flawed. You're not better or worse than any other human being. You can be better at some stuff and worse at some stuff. That's all fine. But just someone who doesn't need to flex. And for the record, I mean, I don't think that that's just a man. I think that's all human beings,
Right, okay, yep.
right? But I think when it comes to like healthy masculinity, like I think a big part of unhealthy masculinity is when we use. See, healthy masculinity should come from like a place of stability or tranquility, not a place of, how can I say this? Not a lack or something that's missing. So if I lack confidence in myself and then if I flex to show off and
Right,
stuff like that,
okay.
I think is healthy. It's whatever is stable and tranquil within you that's where masculinity should really come
Okay,
from.
yeah,
So if masculinity is trying to solve some deficiency about yourself, like if I feel like I'm not attractive or if I feel like I'm a loser and then I'm going to become an alpha because I'm no longer a loser, I don't think that that's healthy. It can be healthy. It can be a stage of healthiness. So it can
right.
be one step forward now that I think about it. But
Especially like if you do get hate though, I feel like, like for me it's true what you're saying because like for me I actually want to do the only one person I actually want to impress right now is myself. I want to impress myself. I want to improve myself, you know? And of course to be honest, even my family and stuff. But that's gonna be hard. But for my right now I'd want to improve myself and impress myself, and trust myself. So
yeah, so that I think is beautiful. I mean, I think the goal here should not be, I think the goal is you should become someone that you can be proud of.
yeah, true. True.
It's not to be proud of yourself. How do I develop confidence? How do I develop pride? That's the wrong question. Become someone that pride is natural, that you don't have to try. Everyone's asking you, how do I become confident? Just be the person who is confident, right? So think about treating yourself with respect. That means being careful about what you put into your body. That means being careful about how you take care of yourself. It means prioritizing yourself, valuing yourself. That's where confidence comes from.
Yeah.
Here we are like going externally and trying to say, okay, if I do these 5 things, I will develop confidence. But internally, like you're not worth it yet. So start to prioritize yourself. This is beautiful.
Yep. Yeah. Still like I feel like it's I don't want it to crawl back. I don't want it to crawl back into my life. Like that's one scary thing because I know 100% one little touch and I'll be back into it. I got offered a contract of casino slots. No, CS:GO gambling. So not what originated my gambling because that was esports. They offered me case openings. You just click open cases and stuff like that. And it was going to be a good amount because I'm actually I am jobless right now. So, I just basically do streaming entertainment. I'm not gonna lie, side money. I mean, everyone loves that, you know. And and when they offered me, I was like, wow, this could, keep me get me back to where I was. But what is the outcome? Now, for my mind, right now is like I see dirty money. And when I was streaming, when I used to make good amount of money, I used to be like, I want to kill myself if I ever drop back to like the minimum wage. It's not nice to say or use the word or play around with the word kill yourself, but like, I used to be like, I don't want to live anymore if I'm gonna go back to a normal job. What happened with everything when it all came out? That's where I said I was grateful. I was grateful to work a normal job and make an actual good amount. I didn't really think of money. I just thought of like, improving, improving as a person, being grateful, thankful, having my parents by my side, having another chance in life. You know,
That's beautiful.
I know, and
And
not a lot of people get that, and that's also another thing where I should be very extremely grateful is that there is not XQC or Ludwig for a lot of other gambling addicts out there, and I feel like they're not to be hated because I also think and I feel for them because I know there is a lot of people that go crazy for this and get angry and all that stuff, and I don't know, you know, like when I went to therapy, I thought it was just bullshit. Honest to God, I thought it was bullshit when I went in
how so?
until because I was like, how can you change me when I need to change me? What are you going to do? Give me a drug, insert something inside of me, and make me a different person? No. But when I went, I got to speak to someone, not like the internet. Oh, you're a piece of shit. Those are not the people I should be speaking to at that point. The therapist, oh hey, it was someone I could feel comfortable to come out with and explain it. And then she was like, a friend, and she gave me a paper. And she said, "What are the fun things you like about gambling?" Gave her a few. What are the bad things about gambling? Gave her a lot. What do you do when you not gamble? What do you do? It was a lot, and that went inside my head, and that's where I explained it to. I was like, oh, okay, you know, this really this is the reason why I shouldn't do it, and this is the reason why. What is the point in doing it? You know, because I can actually smile now. I know, I shouldn't be, but I can't keep
Yeah,
saying
right.
that. I'm just gonna be like, I can actually smile now. I can actually hopefully see a future. I don't know. To be honest, that's bullshit. I still don't see, a future because like that is me. But until I get a woman or something, maybe I can. And until I pay the remaining off, then I can have a future. You know?
Yeah, I think that sounds super reasonable to me, man. Like I think you're on your journey, and I I think it's appropriate for you to not see a future, but also to acknowledge that just because you can't see it now doesn't mean that it won't come,
Right.
right? So this is the other tricky thing about a future is like whether you can see it or not, there's only one direction to move in life, which is forward.
Yep. True.
So everyone's talking about like I think this is a big problem we have in society where everyone's like, okay, I'm trying to build towards this future. What's your 10-year plan? What's your 20-year plan? Like, I mean, no one can fucking see the future. Everyone's so caught up in 10 or 20-year plans. Instead, what we should be caught up in is like, what's my like today plan?
True.
What's my 5 minutes from now plan? Like, what am I gonna put into my body today?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Is it gonna be like a banana or is it gonna be a cookie? And we can make, and this is the interesting thing is that a future is not built up when you plan for the future. A future is built up through actions today. That's the only way that future is built. And so I think you're on your journey. It sounds good where you are. It sounds like you
Blessing.
have
A
some,
blessing. Trust me, a blessing. 100% a
yeah.
blessing. I'm even able to fucking click the live button. Like have even when I started, like when I went live, I was like, I'm gonna expect 200 viewers or less. Get to 300, 400. I'm like, I'm blessed, grateful, more and more. And I feel like, through mistakes could come good things. In the worst way, of course, that's not nice, and but like everyone does mistakes. No one's perfect. That's what I believe. You see all these people out there, like even in the streaming world, they're like, yo, that's where you was mentioning about ego. You think you're all lit. You think you're
Mhm.
special, and you think I will never be like that guy because I used to do that. I used to see gamblers, even though I was gambling, I was like, look at this idiot. Imagine, oh, why would you do that, bro? I would even be like to some streamers, like, why would you spend your money like that? Why are you being an idiot? You're a streamer, you have a future. Bang, that came out to be me. That came out to be me, and you know,
The tricky thing there is it's when we believe we have a future, it's when we're assured that we have a future, it's when the future is guaranteed that we actually make the worst choices.
yeah,
Oh, because I have a future. It's guaranteed. I can afford to fuck around. I can afford to do this. I can afford to do this because like the future is bright. So
yeah.
I think we get scammed by the future all the time. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I try and I won't ever forget for what I did though. I won't. Like it's
good.
yeah, like and I shouldn't. I shouldn't forget for what I did in especially to the people. And I'm always, if of course, these people I'll always look up to, you know. But I don't know. I don't know. For myself, I don't see. I don't know. It's so awkward when I see it. Like as in I do speak to quite a few women, and that was the most awkward thing when she said that to me. She's like, I do know what you did in the past. And I was like, yep, I cut off. Well, I don't know where to go with that leading conversation. I don't know how you yeah, that is me. And what you're gonna do about it? I can't say that. I don't know.
Yeah. So would you like some help with that?
Please.
Okay. So
Getting
now let's
women.
get
Sure.
concrete. Okay. So I mean, I think when someone acknowledges it, like you can say, I mean, so there are a couple different moves here. So one move is to be humorous, right? You can say, well, like, honestly, that's great because you save me the trouble of like, being who I am, I never know when to tell someone.
Okay.
It's fucking awkward, right?
Right. Right.
Hi, my name is Sliker. I'm a gambling addict. Do you tell people on the first date? Do you tell people on the second date? Do you tell, like, when do you break the news? So, you can just kind of joke about it. You can say, like, look, I'm glad you know. It saves me the trouble of telling you.
Right,
Laugh
right,
it off.
right.
Also, I think sends the right kind of energy. That's one thought. I think another thing that you can do is just kind of own it, right? You can say, like, yeah, that was a really dark period of my life. And, like, I'm really trying to move on. And I've made some progress.
I
And
see,
just kind of
yeah.
own it, right?
Right.
And it's like something that I work on every
Yeah,
day.
but you
Like,
don't know
thankfully,
what they're thinking of. They're like, that's
it's
the
not,
thing. That's what comes into my thought. It's like, oh, she knows about
yeah,
that. She's probably like, he might scam me.
no. But Slicker, you don't know what they're thinking either,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So you've got to be careful about your mind. So when you feel a lack of confidence, you will project that lack of confidence into the thoughts of others. I don't know what they're thinking, and you don't know what they're thinking. It's not your job to make them think a certain way. If you really want to have a relationship with another human being, you're not trying to. This is what's so fucked up is that we're so manipulative for people's thoughts. If I say this, they'll think this. And if I say this, they'll think this. We're sitting there trying to control people's thoughts all the time. So we shape what we say to control their thinking about us. It's manipulative. Instead, speak your truth and let them judge. It's their right to judge. Right? And if people want to judge you ill for it, that's not someone that you want a relationship with anyway.
Yeah.
Why are you going to go chasing them down?
No,
And that's their
100%.
choice, right? They have every right to not want to be your
100%.
friend.
100%.
So just let that go. You're walking your journey and you're going to represent yourself as authentically and positively as possible and let people judge you the way that they're going to judge you.
It's all right though. My mom said that I'm gonna be getting married to my cousin soon, so that's all right. I'm joking. I'm joking. That is that. Wait, why are you not surprised? I was actually joking. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, that's.
I was
can't do that.
internally I was debating whether I wanted to joke back with you about, who's going to get you ready for your wedding night, and is your mom going to be there and towel you off after, and like all.
If I told you something, it would be even weird. Like, actually, I don't want to say it here. I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I keep ruining it because I say it's been. Alright, there are people in my family that are cousins, so maybe that's my outcome. Came like this.
Yeah, we're not going to touch that with 10-foot pole, bro.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit more common in some cultures, and
True. Is it coming in? You do apologize. You're Indian, correct?
yeah.
Right. Is it coming in India?
I want to say no, but
Right.
there's certainly like some kinds of restrictions and things like that. So like it's changed a lot now, but when my parents got married, they were of different castes.
Was
And
it
so
cast like spells and stuff?
no. So in India there's like a caste system, so there's like categories of people.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
there's
Okay.
like
Okay.
the priest caste, and then there's like the warrior caste, the merchant caste, and the laborer caste.
Right.
And so you normally would marry within your caste, but the caste is pretty big.
Okay.
So like, my grandmother, like, for example, would not, back in my village, which has like 300 people, like what would happen is we'd go like 1 or 2 towns over to find like a spouse.
Right.
And so you're not marrying like within the family, but you also like want to be careful. You want to marry someone who you have some relationship with, so you know that they're from a good family or bad family, and there's all this kind of stuff.
Yep,
But
yep,
things
yep,
are
yep.
changing now.
Do you think
And
it's wrong to do that? I'm not doing that. I swear to, I'm not into
do what?
cousin marriage.
I mean, I think genetically it's not a good idea.
You know, because like I feel like I have a power, and I'm not even joking with you. I actually believe I've got a power. I can. I don't know. It's like I'm creative, not in. Okay, people gonna like. Yes, you're gonna say in the the scam way, but not just even in scam. Like even in games, Doctor K. Like it's. I'm. The brain is like 5D. I'm using.
Yeah.
I'm.
But
I'm.
what does that have to do with marrying cousins?
Because my mom and dad are cousins.
Okay.
So like they created and does that mean I'm an inbred? No
I'm not
way.
gonna. So I don't know what you like. Okay, so look, here's what we know.
So I could
Okay,
blame my
let's
parents for
understand
my gambling addiction.
if you want to. So here's just what we know about genetics. Okay,
Right,
so we have two kinds of genes.
right.
We have autosomal dominant, or we have dominant and recessive genes. Okay, the problem is that sometimes if you have a recessive gene and you've got two copies of it, you can get some kind of problem. Usually. So the
No,
problem is that the
yep,
closer you are genetically,
right.
like the greater the likelihood is that you'll get two recessive genes and then you end up with some kind of like
So you're basically giving
some problem.
information of me. I see, I see, I see. All right.
But I mean I think cousins are, I mean we can map this out. It's been a little while since I took genetics. Let's understand what the, so you're 50% with your parents, right? And parents are 50% with each other, and then their kids share 50%. So I mean, I think it's like maybe they share like 1/8 of their genetic material or something.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, it's still high. I wouldn't biologically, it's not the best bet. But I think the other thing we have to understand is that in these cultures where you do have like closer familiar marriages, there are all kinds of other societal pressures. So I think the cultures that do this kind of thing do it for a reason. Like generally speaking, when whole cultures are doing something, there's some kind of evolutionary advantage.
Yeah, yeah,
But generally speaking, what we want to do is like mix our DNA as much as possible with like foreign people, because that's when you get positive dominant traits from everybody else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't. You don't need to worry. I'm not gonna be doing this anyway. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. Like
I'm not, I mean,
I'm not
it's your
into.
life, bro, and you do what you
No,
want to do.
yeah, no, no, no. It's like that's not my type, like to do stuff like that with my cousins. But yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know, but it does make sense a lot of what you said, Dr. Ken. I really do appreciate you. And a lot of us, a lot of the streamers do we need people like you, Like we don't have well, I'm not gonna label myself as a streamer, but a lot of the streamers, or even when I was a streamer, we needed people like you. It's not. It's just we were just so hypnotized to our chat. We would believe whatever they would say. We like, yep, you're right. I'm so sorry. Yep, please, sorry. But then when we talk to you, we're like, listen to you more and don't listen to them. Which
Yeah, I mean,
also made me like, obviously, I started learning that more often when I was working at doing a normal job.
I mean, Slicker, I honestly, I appreciate that. And I think one thing that I want to highlight is that I can't do what I do without you.
Mm,
So this is what a lot of people miss, right? Is it's not me, it's us.
right.
And like the reason we do interviews like this is because it's not even about streamers. It's like, bro, do you get how many people out there have gambling addictions?
A lot. I know it. And even the people that, because I
Right.
pretended a lot. Yeah.
And the problem is that we don't, when people discover that they're addicts or whatever, like there's someone who's going to be 18, 19 who's watching this right now and they're starting the path that you're on.
Yep.
And the problem is when you were 18 or 19, no one had done an interview like this. No one had talked to a gambling addict about what was your life like? What was your story like?
It's embarrassing.
And that's absolutely right. And so who's taken like, I mean, here we are talking about everything we're talking about your life. It hasn't been like sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
It's been like the worst parts of you and the parts of you that hurt other people and got you canceled and all this kind of shit. I mean, it takes balls to do that. But when you do this, other people hear it. It makes it less, I mean, it makes it more okay to have a problem. We all talk about destigmatizing mental illness and destigmatizing, right? I'm not saying you're mentally ill or not mentally ill. That's for you and your therapist to decide.
Right.
What I'm saying is that as we struggle, we have to have these conversations. Because when we have these conversations, people realize, oh, maybe I have a problem. And if anyone out there is listening to this and is like, oh shit, this sounds like me, maybe you should go see a therapist, right? Go and get help. And we heard from you how helpful it was and how you thought it was bullshit at the beginning. Like, that's incredibly valuable too. There are times when I feel like therapy is bullshit, and I do therapy. There's times it is bullshit. We're pretending to do therapy instead of actually doing therapy, but that's a conversation for a different day. So thank you for coming on, and I appreciate your appreciation. I'll take it.
Yeah, nah, it's a blessing. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. I was, you know, it was good meeting you as well in the Stream
Yeah.
Awards. Nice guy. I swear to God. I
Likewise.
I was kind of drunk though that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do recall meeting you
We
and your
talked for like
missus.
less than 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, I think
If I
I
remember.
was. I think I was. You know, the most immature way to say this. I think I was dick riding you a lot, Dr. K. At the awards.
I didn't perceive it that way.
Right.
I mean,
right, right.
I think you were just expressing appreciation, which
Yeah.
like that's not dick riding, bro. Like that is one thing that needs to change, right? We can express appreciation. A dude can express another appreciation for another dude without it being dick riding.
True. Nah, true. True. So, 'cause everyone calls me a dick rider for my idol, but yeah. Who's your father? Who's your role models? Would you say?
Who are my role models?
Did you used to listen to Tupac back in the days?
I like Changes.
Ah, so you like the mainstream music?
Yeah, I ain't cool like you are, man.
Nah,
I'll be the
I,
first to
I'm not
admit
gonna
it.
say I'm cool, but I mean, do you what sort of are you into hip hop or are you? Cause you don't give me that vibe. Not to be rude, you just don't give me that vibe of hip hop. I can't see like, yo, first off, fuck the bitch and you know, you look like the sort of guy that's like, you know, got that classical music on, you know.
I don't care for I mean, honestly, dude, I listen to a lot of instrumental music.
Yeah, okay.
Um, but I also like video game music. Like
Same, no,
I'm
same,
like
same,
an
100%.
yeah. So like I like you know, like yeah, I listen
Witcher
to
3
video game music.
music?
Huh?
Witcher 3?
I mean, I liked Witcher 3, but I usually when I listen to stuff, it's like it's all over the place. So I like a lot of Street Fighter 2 remixes.
Yeah.
Um,
Devil May Cry.
I haven't played Devil May Cry, but Final Fantasy.
Nah, I've never played that. Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid?
Yeah, I like some Metal Gear Solid stuff. There's a
Yeah.
lot of really good music there.
That's
So
also my
I
idol.
usually listen to music that I play, but then I also listen to a lot of like EDM kind of stuff recently.
EDM? The heavy
Yeah.
drug music?
Yeah.
What?
It's making me really wonder about doing drugs. And now I'm like wondering like should I go to like some festival in Europe and
If that
you
ever
know, try
happens,
this
Dr.
stuff
K,
one
I'm
day
here for
and
you. I'm here for you. You can
yeah.
get in a call. I can help you out. You can explain it to me. I got you, Dr. K.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but I listen to a lot of stuff that has a little bit of a beat, but not a whole lot of words,
Right,
and
right,
it helps
right,
me like write and stuff.
right.
But then I've also started to appreciate, I mean, silence too. Like
Mm.
I like silence, which I
Yeah.
think fits with what your impression of me is, which is I'm not you know listening to hip hop very often and stuff like that. But you know, it's interesting. I've started to discover a little bit more. I think also since like having kids and stuff, like because I
Um,
think they listen to music, and
How many kids?
I have 2 kids.
Yeah, man, that's something I wish I could have, you know, being a responsible father or something. That'd be nice,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, but like, also, this is another thing. Imagine my kids. Imagine I have kids. Daddy, what do you used to do? Nothing. Wait, Daddy, you scam this much? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I can't be a father like that.
Of course you can. Why
Hmm.
not?
I don't know.
Right?
That's
So
not sort of father you would want. You don't want a kid to have a father like that. You know, a criminal. I see. No, I see what you're trying to. Yeah,
I mean, so like, so look, no father is going to be perfect, right? And I mean, I think that I think your kids may be better off than many other kids. So if you've got an active addiction while you're raising kids, that's certainly bad for the kids.
yeah. Oh, 100%.
There's no question about that. But I would say that if you're someone who's in recovery, like having a dad who knows what addiction is probably a pretty big advantage for your kids. To be able to teach them about, hey, like,
this is what happened to me, and make sure you don't
yeah,
do it.
and I am going to teach you and prepare for a world that is becoming more addictive.
Yeah.
Where
yeah,
there
yeah.
are more designer drugs coming out, where
Right.
video games are getting more addictive, gambling sites are becoming more accessible, where we are breeding strains of marijuana that have higher THC concentrations.
Yep.
Right, the world that your kids are growing in, like if we're talking about character creation here and having a dad who's a former addict, like that could help them a lot. I mean, shit, I was addicted to video games, and I think it helps my kids a lot in terms of the way that I teach them about video games and technology. I mean, fuck, I like literally wrote a book about it, and like, you know, someone's chosen to publish it.
That's crazy. Are you?
And I wouldn't have been able to write that book unless I struggled myself with addiction. And my parents tried everything, and they just didn't know what they were dealing with because technology is different. See, here's the thing you got to understand about it's hard for parents now. So it used to be that you had to worry about addiction when your kid hit teenage years, right? That's when you start talking to them about, oh, like alcohol is haram, beta. No alcohol, right? But now, I mean, kids are getting addicted at 2 years old, 3 years old. You go to the grocery store, you just walk around, you'll see like half the kids in the grocery store are going to be sitting in the cart on their parents' phone.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, I would say, Sliker, I get what you're saying, that you would, what I'm hearing is that you actually feel like ashamed that your dad used to be a criminal.
What?
But
my dad wasn't a criminal.
Like, if you had kids, right?
Yeah,
So you're like, man, like I don't like, you know, that's fucking pathetic. Like to have a dad who's a criminal.
Yeah,
but I think you are who you are, and hopefully you'll grow out of it.
The thing is, it's true because I could do what and prevent them from doing it. Like I'm not gonna blame my dad. I'd never. My dad was, you know, the best father I could ever ask for.
And that's what they're gonna think about you too.
Yeah, and like, you know, I could be like the one that would be money manager. Well, but I could be like money managing them. And wait, me money managing that? Yeah, man, I might have to call my sister or something to manage their money. But I mean, like, you know, I could prevent them from doing what I did.
I mean, I would hope so. That's what we try to do as parents, right? We try to help our children make different mistakes from the ones that we made.
No, yep, facts. Because nowadays it's easy to access gambling. You don't even need verification. Well, do you think it's all right for gambling sites to be available, or do you think it should be illegal?
I think we use laws to try to band-aid a lot of more fundamental problems in our society. So like the approach I've taken, I don't know whether they should be legal or not legal. But I think that the basic problem that we have with gambling sites isn't whether they're legal or not legal. It's that we have not trained people to understand how their mind works. That's a far bigger problem, in my opinion. Right. So every child should learn emotional awareness, empathy, understanding where your desires are coming from, what an addict's mind looks like.
Yep.
And literally what changed with me, I was the same fucking kid who failed out of school and was 10 years later was teaching, not 10, maybe longer, but, you know, was teaching at Harvard Medical School. Same kid. The only difference is someone taught me. Only difference is someone taught me how my mind works.
How do you get into Harvard? And you used to like not.
It took a long time.
Harvard's the best, right, in the world. Well,
I think it depends on what you're talking about, but I think there's a lot of places give Harvard a run for their money, for sure.
Right.
I thought it was awesome. I think it's a great place. It's a wonderful institution to learn at. I had a very positive experience. But is it the best? I don't know. I didn't go to other places, so I can't compare.
Yeah. That's crazy.
The difference is just understanding how your mind works.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. I skipped school. I'm not proud, but you know, like I just didn't see myself in school. It was too hard. I did graphics design.
Yeah.
I did graphics design, and it was just, even when I went into like applying for the job, for university, she was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I was like, "Why?" She was like, "Because getting a job out of this is not easy." I'm like, what the hell? Are you not trying to get me in or something?
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge, right? Is you probably the reason you did graphics design is because it sounds like you had undertreated ADHD in school,
No,
and you
yeah, yeah,
couldn't do school the way that normal kids can do school, neurotypical kids. That's not your fault,
yeah. Nah, it's
right?
yeah, nah. I don't
I think
know.
the only thing that's really getting in the way of you having being a good father is you got to stop riding my dick, man. That's not going to get your kids.
Nah, nah. I mean, if I do have kids, I'll just make sure they like educate themselves on Tupac and stuff, at the age of 3.
Yeah, great. I mean, I think he's a force for a reason. I mean, Tupac is who he is for a reason.
100%. 100%. I love him to bits. I swear to God. I don't even want to say that. But say if like for example, say if your kids became a pro, like was grinding a lot of games, would you be okay with that?
It would depend.
Okay. Because like
So I
nowadays,
think
nowadays you can see it's easy to make money off the internet and a living from the internet. But would you want them to be in that life? Because there's a lot of toxicity in that life.
yeah. So that's where like I don't accept that the life is fixed, right? So I think the way that you prepare someone to live that life it determines whether they can handle the toxicity or not.
Right.
So I want them to do whatever they want to do, and I view my job as preparing them to be able to do it in the healthiest way possible.
Right.
So if they said, "Hey, I want to become a pro gamer," I would say, "Okay, fine, but we're not going to let you become a degenerate."
Right.
Right? So like if they were, so like you still have to wake up every day and you have to like eat healthy food and stuff like that. And the interesting thing is if you really want to be a pro gamer, and even I don't know about streamers, but I think what we also know is like taking care of your health and your mental wellness, like with streaming as well and pro gaming, actually correlates with better success.
True.
This idea of like a degenerate streamer or degenerate gamer, I think is like that's decreasing. So we found that when you support, we've had a sample size of about 400 now. So when we've worked with 400 streamers and helping them with their mental and like helping them with their motivation and kind of like eating healthy and sleeping on time and shit like that, that actually increases their like follower count, sub count, view count by 171%. Being a degenerate, the internet may love you for it, but long term, it's not a good
It's
strategy.
not a good. Yep. True. True.
Anyway, any last thoughts or questions, Slicker, before we wrap up for the day?
No, I can't. The thing is, you know what it is? When you want to think and you really have that thing inside your head, you just can't remember it. But yeah, that's me. I have something always in my head, and I just can't remember it. I feel like whenever you ask me questions, I feel like I'm being challenged. It's like your
Yeah.
police asking me questions. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't remember. So
Yeah.
I'm panicking, rushing, so I can't. No.
That's okay. I'm sorry for making you feel that way, and I think that too is not your fault. That's something that actually. So this is important, Slicker. That happens a lot with kids with ADHD.
Hmm.
So what happens when you have a kid with ADHD is when you're in a classroom and your teacher asks you a question, you haven't been paying attention, and you get punished for it.
Yeah.
So your brain tells you you learn this lesson. This is really sad, actually, that getting asked a question means we're in danger.
Yep.
That's your response. It's beautiful that you're self-aware enough to recognize that. Very few people will discover that.
Yeah, yeah. I've always
But
noticed that. It's fucking scary,
it's
man. I swear to
scary,
God. Yep.
right? Getting called on is the most terrifying thing in the world. And here I am asking you questions. You're like, oh shit. And that's because it's baked in. When you were 6 years old and 7 years old in school, your teacher would call on you.
Yeah.
And then everyone in the classroom would laugh because you weren't paying attention, or you'd get punished, or the teacher would shake their head, or your parents would ask you questions and you wouldn't be paying attention. And then the bamboo.
Yep. Life of ADHD.
Yep.
I
It's tough,
appreciate you
man.
though. I appreciate you, Dr. K, man.
Likewise.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story. I'm sorry that you've had such a rough go of it, but honestly, I'm
Deserved it.
optimistic for you, man. I have a feeling, I'm hopeful. I can't see the future, but I'm hopeful that in a year or two, I hope you'll be very happy with where you are, and hopefully you'll be in a relationship.
Yeah, no, maybe I get a dream, another $1 or something. Who knows what? Nah.
No, but seriously, give people the one piece of advice, if I can give that, is give people the chance to reject you. Don't do it for them.
Oh, I've been rejected a lot of times so
Good.
far. Yeah, and I mean it helps a lot, but yeah, I'll take that to know. A lot of things you said as well, definitely like it made a lot of sense. I'm surprised. Don't really listen in class. It was a bit hard when you was writing that stuff down because it was like I was in class again. But it eventually caught up to me and it made a lot of sense. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you though.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. K.
Likewise.
Love you,
Take
bro.
care, my friend, and
See
good
ya.
luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Take it easy.